glad that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you would think that happens in there. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that. Looking for that whip, yeah, that what you call that. I'ma blow up in the summer, have him yelling fall back. And I've always been ahead like an effing ball cap. Man, I came in the game like, whoa. Got a couple chains on me cause I like gold. They told me I'm the best and I told them I know. Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah, they saying I'm the man. Facts, bro. Facts, lot of haters. Tell me where they at, though. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap, though. Want me on your song, throw a couple stacks, yo. Woo! Everybody wanna do the same thing. Yup, that's why we ain't on the same page. Do my own thing, and I maintain. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah, I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yup. I'm going mainstream. Damn. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. So I'm going mainstream.
Hello and welcome to Xbox Infinite Podcast. Sorry, I was just messing around in the background. We've got a great show for you guys today. It's going to be a little bit technical to begin with because UE5 has released their engine and it's available to the public for download. And we got to find out a whole bunch of new stuff they were doing. It's really, really interesting stuff. I find that interesting, and hopefully you guys do too. I brought in basically a tech guy who is very modest and says he doesn't know anything, but he knows a whole lot more than a lot of people. Mashing around, how you doing, man? What are you up to? What have you been playing this week? How's life?
Good, how are you? Just playing a little, Gears and Doom this week, and, life's pretty good.
Hell yeah, awesome, man. Yep, I'll be having Gears up on the screen a little bit later just to relate to UE5. And obviously the panel's returning. Of course, with our newest panel member, I'll go to him first. Jack, how you doing, man? Welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been playing?
Doing great. Always a pleasure to be here with you guys. Yeah, I've been playing a couple of things. Running through Fallout 4. Always Elden Rings constantly there. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So, yeah, no, it's great to be back. Can't Can't say enough how much I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And JediKnightPete, man, how you doing? Welcome back. I hear you're a little bit stuck on Elden Ring. We played a bit of Halo. We got some games last night, which is why we're both tired.
Yeah, amazing to play Halo. Great news dropping, so that sort of fired me up a little bit for Season 2, dropping 3rd of May. Looks awesome, Lone Wolves. But yeah, got to play some Halo because we really struggled midweek to get some games, didn't we? It was really annoying. So Friday night we actually got some gaming in, which is really cool. But other than that, I'm on Millennia in Elden Ring, and she is kicking my ass. But yeah, looking forward to it. Xbox Infinite. Great to see everyone in the chat. All the usual names. G'day everyone. Yeah, let's do this.
And we got a couple of new names in there. Skywalker UAV. Hello, welcome to the show, mate. We got Skrilla, who I know, but welcome to the show. And all usuals, Grey Monad, Hargeet, Mr. Jonah Darkrum, Pico Trek, Michael, Gone Mad. All you guys, absolutely amazing that you guys turn up every week. Really appreciate it. We're here for you. Umbra, also returning to the show as a panel member, as always. Welcome back. How's your week? What have you been playing? How is the Elden Lord going?
Yes, I am still basking in the glory of being the Elden Lord. But right now I'm basking in that MLB banger glory, and rubbing it in the faces of PlayStation gamers everywhere. And I'm
how much did you pay for that game,
them.
Umbra? Just as a matter of interest, how much did you pay for it, mate?
Guess what, Pete? Free $99.
Free.
$3.99?
Sony game free on Xbox.
Free $99?
Wow.
Are you out of your mind?
Wow, that's
Oh my
not
God!
bad.
How dare you? How dare you rob and not support those developers, you prick?
Damn those devs. No, but seriously, I'm really enjoying it. It's actually a really good game. Finally got over the addiction of Elden Ring and moved on after New Game Plus. So I'm trying to do that in a few other games. I've also been playing Crusader Kings 3 and a few other games just to get my achievements up because I am an achievement whore at heart. And yeah, just happy to be here with you guys and chop it up today.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, we've got a great show. So we'll get straight into topics, man, this week. UE5 dropped a massive kind of a state of play, and there's a lot in there to unpack. So some of the things that I kind of really was kind of excited about, and I may myself download UE5 and just have a play around with it, is they obviously released the Matrix City for everyone to get in there and mess around with, which is really cool. You've basically got an open world you can mess around with, add stuff, take stuff away, mess with the lighting, bring in characters, add weapons, and you can do all of this without having to type a single line of code, which is absolutely awesome. And they also had a creators community that's really cool as well as an assets dump or an assets library that you can kind of go to and just pull assets into your game. Apparently there's a lot of free ones, but obviously there's some assets in there that you're going to pay for. I just thought this is really awesome. This is going to cut down development time, which is something that's been a worry with this generation because a lot of the development times have blown out to 6-7 years. This is hopefully going to cut down development time of a lot of these games that we've been waiting for. So yeah, I was pretty excited to watch that. That made me super excited for gaming, and I kind of feel like we've just got the next gen back. The new gen is here. We've seen a lot of cross-gen stuff, and yeah, as you can tell, I'm super excited about it. Umbra, did you get a chance to watch the UE5 state off?
I did. It was impressive. What I'm just most excited about, and I'm pretty sure I speak for most of us here, if not all, is just how far things are going to go this generation and going beyond with Unreal Engine 5. Also knowing that Xbox has so many studios using it, I'm just excited, honestly, because I know that the Coalition, who are the masters of it, I can only imagine what the game they're working on is and how it's going to look, as well as, of course, Gears 6. So I'm excited, man. Really excited to see what they do with this.
Yeah, they had that little tech demo, and that looked absolutely amazing, man.
It did.
Yeah, Jack, did you get a chance?
Did you all see? By the way, did you all see that Superman demo I shared? Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Today, mate. Yep.
Yeah,
man,
that looks awesome. Someone messing around in that Matrix City with and basically made a Superman character so you can fly around the city, man. That was wicked. That was awesome.
Spectacular.
really exciting. And you could do all of this stuff without writing a single line of code, which is like,
Right.
we could literally make an Xbox Infinite game. I mean, we probably won't.
Wait,
but
could
we
we
could
literally do it?
we could literally do it.
Literally.
You're eating with your mouth open.
Yeah.
Jack, did you get a chance to check
As
this
long
out?
as it's organic, boys.
Yeah,
as long as it's organic.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, no, Risk, I literally just saw, oh, God, I want to hit myself. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. I do. And especially because, I mean, Superman, Umbra hit it right on the nail, obviously. You know, I went back to being 7 years old again, wearing a bath towel around my shoulders, you know, trying to burn things with my eyes. So, yeah, the one thing I loved about it the most, not necessarily that it just showed off a lot of what was already being done and things like that, but I mean, after watching that showcase, it really left me almost free to dream. You know, the possibilities I started thinking about, and they seem almost endless. I mean, it's great, and it's great to see so many in-house first-party Xbox studios, especially like Umbra again mentioned was the Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
I think it bodes very well for just the future of this console, the future of this generation. I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of it, and I love how it's just so open and people are already getting in there and they're playing with it, and that's where we're, you know, hopefully, if I cross my fingers enough, finally going to get our Man of Steel game. So yeah, no, it was great. It was absolutely mind-blowing. I can't wait to see what comes next.
Yeah, man. I think another studio that we should probably mention, well, there's two that obviously Ninja Theory is doing amazing things with UE5. We've already seen that.
Of course.
But the initiative is using UE5, and with the way that it looks like, I'm not a tech guy, but I'm going to use some tech words so I sound like, you know, I know what I'm talking about. But UE5 looks like it streamlines the pipeline of the actual game development, making things a lot easier. So, you know, when they talk about Perfect Dark being, you know, 3 years away or 2 years away, that may not actually be true with UE5. They may have shortened that development time down by a year, maybe even years. So, yeah, it's definitely a reason to get excited. Pete, you got a chance to check this out?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. So great to see so many Xbox studios actually using the Unreal 5 engine as well. So, you know, we've got the Coalition, Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, Initiative, Undead Labs, Rare, In Exile. So it looks like it is the engine of choice for most of the big games that are going to be coming out in the next, 5 years or so. So really interested to see where this engine goes and what they can come up with. I love that the Xbox studios are going to be learning the engine together, and I think the Coalition can really, really help when it comes to that because they are the masters of it. There's going to be some footage coming up on screen pretty soon of playing Hivebusters, and I mean that game just looks amazing. Every time I go back and play it, I just think, wow, you know, the graphics is they're just great. But so much to still learn about the engine, the Unreal 5 engine. I hope, right, Riskit, I hope the development process is streamlined. I hope that development times are, you know, substantially reduced because it just seems that development times just keep extending out and getting longer and longer. And, you know, we've heard about these games for so long now, and when we really just want to play them now, we want to get our hands on them. I hope that they can make it really easy for Unreal Engine 4 games to then transfer into Unreal Engine 5 and get benefits. Yeah. Well, we don't actually know how easy it is. I know that they said in, you know, the thing that they put out, that the demo thing they put out, that will be happening, but you know, we don't actually know until it gets into the hands of developers how easy that process is and, you know, whether there are any negative impacts. But yeah, look, all in all, really, really excited. It looks like Xbox studios are at the forefront of using Unreal Engine 5. Massive coup for Epic, getting the Witcher developers, CD Projekt Red, to develop The Witcher 4 in Unreal Engine and not using their proprietary engine, Red Engine. I think that they basically made a call out to CD Projekt Red when they developed that little scene that looks like it comes straight out of The Witcher 3, and they said Monster Hunter wanted. And, you know, funnily enough, CD Projekt Red took notice and they did transfer over So yeah, I can't wait. The red engine was fantastic in The Witcher 3, and it still holds up today. That game is beautiful, especially with well, it hasn't had its next gen upgrade yet, but it is getting it. But just the 60 frames 4K that they're using at the moment is amazing. So I found that a little bit strange that they moved away from their proprietary engine to Unreal, but I think that it shows how good this engine is. I don't think we actually realize how good this engine is yet. So I can't wait. Bigger and better things coming.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I did. Sorry, Umbra. Yeah, look, they did actually really talk about UE4 and moving to UE5, and the Coalition some time ago did talk about that too, and they said it was surprisingly easy. But with Hivebusters, they were also messing around with 4 and 5 because they did have 5. They obviously it wasn't like out for the public or out for everyone to use, but apparently the Coalition had 5 and they were pulling little parts of UE5 into 4 to mess with Hivebusters to improve it. Apparently, was what I read ages ago. So that's pretty cool to see. They've actually used something in development, an actual game, and you'll see it up on the screen, like Pete said. Umbra, you were going to say?
No, I was going to say I agree with Pete on the Red Engine 4.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent engine. The Witcher 3 to me still is like a visual masterpiece. So I definitely agree with him there. But I'm interested in seeing just how far they can go now with a partnership with Epic and pushing Unreal Engine 5. I'm also wondering, are they going to use Epic to help them, get used to Unreal Engine, or are they going to actually hire new people for that to, develop within and also go further with that in the next game that they have coming out after that? I'm wondering how far things will go and how if they'll ever go back to that.
I think the development hell of Cyberpunk told CD Projekt Red that their engine wasn't up to scratch. I think that there was more to that story than we actually knew, and I think that might be one of the reasons why they are moving over to Unreal Engine 5. And I think you're right, Umber. I think that Epic and CD Projekt Red have signed a deal in the background where they are actually going to substantially help them and train them on the new engine, because otherwise it's a crazy leap for all the people that you have currently working on your studio that are used to working, on their proprietary Red Engine technology, and then moving them all over to a brand new engine. That's not easy. But you have to think that in the long run, they have done it because it will make the game both easier to make and better looking. So, and like you said, Witcher holds up today. It is a visual masterpiece. So if they can get better, I can't wait for these games to come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mostly cost related.
Yeah, Mesh, I was about to actually go to you. Because obviously you're into your tech and you know a lot more about it than us. What in the Unreal state of play did you find interesting? What was exciting for you?
I like the demo, the Coalition demos or whatnot. As far as, and then the importation of UE4 directly into the UE5. It's watching even more about it. It's pretty much, developers are at home if they use UE4. It's not much different. The differences, of course, are Lumen and Nanite. But if they know how to develop for a typical modern engine, they should be able to use Lumen without too much. In Nanite, they would have to learn, obviously, because but the LOD system, being that it's automatic or whatnot, like you guys are saying, it takes away a lot of development time. Whatnot, but yeah, it's mostly a cost-related thing. Is why they're using UE5, because it takes millions and millions of dollars to develop an engine.
Yeah, they probably took a bit of a hit with some of those lawsuits that they copped from their investors, not investors, shareholders. And there was something else that came out of UE5 that we kind of sort of forgot to mention. A new Tomb Raider game was announced. I think the last Tomb Raider game was announced in 2018. That was done. Released in 2018. That was Eidos, and the first two were Crystal. The reboot and the Rise of were Crystal. It's pretty cool to have Crystal back on a Tomb Raider, because that reboot was like out of control. Great. I just wanted to ask you some questions about you mentioned Nanite as well. I know I'm jumping backwards and forwards. It is my nature. Nanite. So mesh shaders and Nanite are a similar thing. And what are mesh shaders for you guys in the chat? If you don't know what mesh shaders are, mesh is really
So I'm gonna have to give you guys a little history, to kind of fully explain it to me. So let's say 1990s. The GPUs were fairly new or whatnot, and when I mean fairly new, within the last 10 years, from at that point. So they had a transform and lighting engine, and basically it was fixed function hardware that dictated that every time a frame changed, that of course the scene would change. You're moving your character around, things are changing to bring that from the last frame into the next frame and transform it. You know what I mean? And so that came about, and then around mid maybe 2004-ish, then they in APIs, DirectX 10 and the like, DirectX 9 actually and the like, they went to this unified shader model. And so now you have these shaders, which are programs that run on the GPU that access the cores, the power of the GPU, and you can have these general purpose programs that can run like, hey, you have a shader for hair, a shader for reflections, a shader, I don't know, for the sky or whatnot. So you can have a shader for anything, right? And so you have these shader pathways. The unified shaders, because before that was vertex shaders, geometry shaders, tessellation shaders, geometry shaders, the whole nine, and you had to go in order. So the vertex shader fed the pixel shader, and then vertex data came into the tessellation shader and geometry shader, and you had to go through all these paths. So the GPU, even though it had this information to put up on the screen, you had to wait until it filled this pipeline and until it got all the way to the end and everything was in a package and a neat little bow on it. Well, mesh shaders, you don't need to have it all in a package and a neat little bow. It can go to the screen and it's ready. So, you have this. So now it's simplified: vertex shader, tessellator, which whole shader, domain shader, geometry shader, and then to the pixel shader, and that's it. And if you want to add in the cool thing about and this is where the cool thing about the Xbox comes in, because all of that I mentioned, that whole pipeline piece in the mesh shader, the Xbox, there's a task shader that can basically call up all of these different shader pipelines at the same time. So typically NVIDIA, when they came out with the whole mesh shader thing, it was limited to 32, basically 32 think of it like threads, like threads on a CPU, so 32 waves or whatnot. And so you can run 32 at the same time. Well, that's the way the PS5 works, right? 32. The Series X can do 256.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah, but there's an issue. There's an issue with that with our mesh shaders, the Xbox mesh shaders, is that they don't.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. They don't have the software. We had a bit of a talk in the background about this a few weeks ago. They don't quite have the software up to scratch to run those mesh shaders, or what?
That's not just the powers that be, the community who created mesh shaders is still trying to figure out the best way to go about it, right? And to implement certain things. And so it's available there, but because mesh shaders is, it's software, right? That can take better advantage of the hardware. So everybody now has their own little custom thing. Like UE5 has their custom thing. Unity is going to have its custom thing. Everybody has their custom thing. PS5 has this geometry engine. Xbox is thinking to the AMD, the proposed mesh shader pipeline. So basically what the coalition is going to have to do, or what they have done, I don't know what they've done behind the scenes, but they plug in what they want to plug in there and make it their own, essentially. Yeah. So it's not a standard has not been agreed upon in certain parts of the mesh pipeline.
Right. But when we get to when they actually hit the nail on the head and get it absolutely right, they were benchmarking performance boosts of like 800 and something%, right?
Oh yeah, and even more with the driver update. AMD released a driver update not too long after that, and you're seeing numbers, 900, 1100, crazy. And so, but as of right now, yeah, it's still in process as far as for the games are concerned. But yes, mesh shader performance, and it's not like I know the benchmark or the 3D Mark software says like 800, 900, 1100 or whatnot percent. So you start off with 40 frames, and now over here it's like 300 frames. Well, you're not going to have a 300 frame per second game. That's just not going to. So what they would do is focus on increasing quality, increasing texture quality, increasing geometry, as well as speed. So now a game that would have been 30 FPS, implementing mesh shaders in the pipeline, can now be 120 FPS.
Yeah,
60
right.
FPS easy.
So you could get 120 FPS, ray tracing, and say via upscaled 4K quite easily with mesh shaders.
Ray tracing on the consoles, no. You're going to, and the reason why I say that is because it just depends on, like Unreal Engine, they're going to have to use software Lumen to get 60 FPS. If they tap into, because RT is not just the RT accelerators. See, AMD has RT accelerators, NVIDIA has RT cores, right? So with AMD, you're still going to be utilizing part of the TMU of the GPU as well as those ray accelerators. So yeah, getting 4K mesh shaders at 4K, that's kind of a touchy as well, because meshes are huge. Meshes are huge. So resolution is very closely related to memory, right? So your memory, not only your memory bandwidth, but the amount of memory that you have. So being that meshes are huge, things like sampler feedback are going to have to come in clutch for that. If they're trying to use mesh shaders without something like sampler feedback, you're going to be hurting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So if there's no way possible to get, say, 60 4K and ray tracing on a console.
Well, I think that's where VRS comes in. I think that's where FRS comes in, and all these, all these processes where they can boost, they can actually get out of it. Yeah, so I think when you incorporate them all together, I think that's where the benefits will come.
Yeah, it's going. I'm not saying it's impossible, but what I'm saying is that typically devs are probably going to go for the low hanging fruit. 4K is so it's 8.3 million pixels you're putting up on the screen every frame. You know what I mean? Yeah. So every frame, a frame, for 60 FPS, one frame is 16.67 milliseconds. So you have 16.67 milliseconds to put a frame up there, and there are 1,000 milliseconds in 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second.
Yeah, right.
So you with 4K, I would more likely believe they're going to lower the resolution and use like in Unreal, they have their temporal solution, or utilize DirectML
like FRS or something like that, so they don't. But where you can't even really tell the difference that it's not hitting 4K
as well.
And and things like VRS, where they only focus on resolution in things in your eye line, but things behind your eye line and things behind buildings and stuff like that.
TSS. Yeah. Sorry.
You go, mate. Sorry to interrupt. You go, mate.
No, the texture. So that's why I brought up. So sampler feedback streaming has another thing called along with it that can connect with it called texture space shading. And basically, instead of the GPU having to recalculate what it's already calculated in the past for something, it just carries those calculations over. And I know it sounds like it's so simple, like why didn't we think of this before or whatnot, but that's an actual thing that ties. So with sampler feedback, you're not actually putting stuff on screen that you don't need, that you can't see. And so with that, if they implement that and texture space shading, I can see higher resolutions. And it's possible, but what I'm saying, it'd be more feasible for them to like 1800p and then use a machine learning solution to go up to 4K, and then you can, take the rest of that performance and put it in graphical fidelity.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So as time goes on, and another thing is like these new GPUs that are coming out, RDNA 3. Red Gaming Tech has said that.
Oh, wait. You mean the fabled RDNA 3 that the PS5 has?
Yeah, exactly. But no, it doesn't.
It does exist.
It doesn't.
It exists.
It exists, but no, PS5 does not. PS5 actually has RDNA 1 render back.
You telling me that the PlayStation fanboys lied to us?
Well, of course they did.
No, they didn't, because I play it all the time when I play the awesome banger that is Bug Snacks on my PS5. Yeah, and the other one, like Godfall.
But yeah,
Right.
Seriously, no. There's the top end RDNA GPU is rumored to be 70 teraflop GPU.
Jesus.
70, right? And so when it comes to them making these games, and this is what the consoles have to compete with on PC. Now, obviously, the developers aren't going to target the very tip top end on PC. But I'm just saying, like, that's 70. The low end is around 30 or whatnot. That's you're gonna have to have games developed for console first for them to be able to really push the limits there.
Makes sense. Mesh, I got one question though. So basically, with the mesh shaders, funny play on the words, by the way, with your name. It just allows for quicker and smarter, I guess, geometry rendering. So that will, I guess, theoretically make it give it increased in performances and better graphics in games, right?
Yes. So think of you have to draw triangles, right? Polygons. You have to draw these triangles, and usually you output a whole lot of triangles, and then you put them together into about the form that you want, and then you start shaving it off. That's called culling, right? You start shaving and cutting out the shape that you want, right? And that the developer's not doing that. The GPU, does it. It tells the GPU to do all that stuff. Well, mesh shaders basically puts all the triangles together beforehand and puts out one piece, like one map of whatever that you want. It's culled beforehand. So that's kind of so instead of having these individual steps, put all the triangles and then transform the triangles and then cut off this piece. And I'm oversimplifying it, but instead of having all these extra steps or whatnot, you're just putting out, you're putting out a whole map of these triangles at one time.
Yeah, makes sense. It simplifies it. It just so that speeds up development. It seems like, I would guess.
I would imagine, yes, it would speed up development. But there are certain things that mesh shaders are not good for at the moment, or especially in like the UE5 case, like things that are transparent, water, things that aren't very, rigid. That's why a lot of UE5 demos have a bunch of rocks.
Okay.
Because it's made more for rigid things, and that's why if you see in the Matrix demo, when a car crashes, it deforms and it's no longer a mesh. Because anything that deforms currently is not good for like mesh shaders, and that's why water and things of that nature aren't really good for mesh shaders.
That's a good point too, because on that Superman demo I spoke about, they did one part where he smashed on top of the car and it did like some weird physics where it didn't really smash properly. Like it was weird.
They have to switch the rendering tech like on the fly, and that demo is very, very heavy.
It was pretty amazing, and it's amazing that they actually have it out for you to just mess with. It was really cool. And the other game that they've got out for you to mess with is Lyra. Some of the lighting techniques that they were using in that, just on the fly stuff that you can just bang it in there and Lumen does it for you, is like pretty crazy. Have you messed around with UE5 or UE4?
UE5 a little bit, but not too much. I've been like really busy with school and stuff, but I haven't messed with UE5 a whole lot. I've played around with metahumans and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
think that's another thing that we're, overlooking. I think that the fact that Unreal Engine 5 is open source, I think that the community has an opportunity to all learn it together. I think one of the big benefits that Unreal did is in 2014 when they made it available to the public, and the community gets to learn engine together, and I think benefits from that, for everybody. And that's what I was saying before with the amount of Xbox studios that are actually using Unreal. I think that they're going to be able to learn it together and everyone's going to benefit from it. Like when you're talking about things like the Snowdrop engine, which Ubisoft use, or the Anvil engine, which Ubisoft use, they're not available to the public. They're proprietary engines that only Ubisoft use. Same thing with Frostbite, and I know, with EA, where they push their engine onto, for an example, BioWare, where they pushed, where they were used to using Unreal Engine for Mass Effect, and they forced them to use the Frostbite engine to make Anthem, and we all know what a clusterfuck that was. But Unity, it's an open source engine. The games that have come out of Unity are Ori, Rust, Cuphead, great games. Unreal Engine, when that Unity went open to the public in 2009. Unreal Engine, like I said, went available to the public in 2014. Games like Fortnite, Hellblade being made in Unreal, BioShock, the Batman Arkham series. These are, you can see, how the development of the engine are moving forward because of the fact that it's open source. And I think that makes a massive difference when you're talking about engines. And I think Unreal have really, really pushed that going forward, where they've made it open source and you just see the benefits of it. Not only that, they've been really smart, and they picked up a company called Quixel Bridge, and they're the ones that developed that MetaHuman program. And I mean, I don't know if you saw in the demo, but the faces that they made in MetaHuman, they're almost photorealistic. They're just so well done. And not only that, they have got into a partnership with Sketchfab and ArtStation, and there are free assets to use, but it's actually the largest library of photogrammetry scanned items in any engine that's out there at the moment, in terms of the quality
while
of
you
the
say
item.
while you say that as well, they were talking about the difficulty of using photogrammetry to bring assets in. They actually, a lot of people miss it. They actually have an app that apparently I would be
Sketchfab.
really,
I was just about to mention that.
be really interested to see how quality that app is at bringing in assets into a game, because that would be very interesting if you can just go around and obviously photogrammetry your entire house and whack it in as a map in that game, Lyra, and fight around your house. That'd be cool. I'd be down with
I
that.
was just about to mention that. And not only that, they've also got a really cool revenue sharing agreement. So if you, there are free assets to use, but they also have a really good revenue sharing agreement. So if you make something and someone uses that, you can make a bit of money out of it. And I love the fact that, like I said, I think it's going to benefit everybody with the open nature of the actual engine.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we're not looking. That I think it's going to pay off for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right with that. When people start using these engines that are available to the public, and then they start seeing what other people can do, and obviously they'll reach out to each other. I think there's 9 studios currently. I think there's more than that, because Xbox Studios has a couple more studios within it. But there's 9 studios currently using UE5 for their development going forward, so that's pretty exciting. It really is the golden age of gaming right now. We've never seen a better time for gaming. I know it's a drought, and everyone's in a drought at the moment, but at least we've got games coming. PlayStation doesn't. So moving on.
Epic bought Rad Game Tools.
So moving on, we'll jump on to. I will mention again that Tomb Raider 4 was pretty exciting. Crystal Dynamics getting back on that. And as well, that might give us a little bit of an indication that maybe Perfect Dark is further along than we thought it was. If they're jumping,
if they're already tackling, I was going to mention that earlier. I think if you're already tackling something as ambitious as Tomb Raider, I agree with you. I think that's got to be indicative of some level of progress with any other title you're working on. So I'm very optimistic about that. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah. I was that was kind of like my first thought, as well as being super excited for Tomb Raider. Umbra, are you a big Tomb Raider fan?
Oh yeah, massive fan. Laura's an icon in gaming, so absolutely, and I'm actually really excited to see what they do with the engine for that game as well. I think it's going to be spectacular.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It's funny too because the engine they use for that, they use for DSX, the previous engine, also that engine was great. So I'm just excited to see how far, like I said, the games are going to go using UE5 like that. Honestly,
they could push them as well with like not having cross-gen to deal with. That's a couple less machines that you have to deal with. So that's pretty cool as well. Pete, you excited for Tomb Raider? I did actually hear that they're going to be shaving her head and giving her a bit more of a butch like posture in the game. You excited for Tomb Raider 4?
Well, they're not going to do that because they have their proprietary FX hair thing that they always rave about, and that's one of the reasons why her hair looks so magnificent.
Yeah, no, I heard
long and flowing, and what
gonna
the
be using
female's
that
hair is
for
meant to look like.
Her armpit hair. That's her
I
armpit hair that they're going to be using that for. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard you were going to be using Sinead O'Connor as the model. So
Jada Pinkett.
yeah, was that the
oh no,
yeah, they're going to give her alopecia.
We're gonna get slapped by Will Smith in a minute.
Oh God!
Keep your
look.
wife's name. Yeah, you're right. Go on, Pete. You were saying.
So I'll get us back on track, and I'll just say that I cannot wait to see what Crystal Dynamics does with Tomb Raider. I'm so glad that they have their Tomb Raider IP back in the right hands. I know, I think Jack told me this the other day. I wasn't actually aware of it, that Eidos Montreal actually made the last Tomb Raider game. So it's been a while since Crystal Dynamics has made a Tomb Raider game. And, I mean, they're the ones that originally made the reboot. And it was one of my favourite games of last generation.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I know there was a little bit of controversy when Xbox got timed exclusivity of the Tomb Raider game. Yeah, because Sony don't money had anything, do they?
Why is that?
I've never heard of.
I don't get that.
Never
You're
heard.
not allowed to do that on PlayStation. That's what greatness is.
Yeah, that's.
I
don't know
never
what you don't
heard of
understand.
Sony money having anything, but when Xbox do it, there's outrage. But I love the Tomb Raider.
Convention violation.
My favorite.
I love the new reboot. I think Lara Croft is a very, very well fleshed out character. I rarely play as females in games, but Lara Croft, she's one of the
she's an icon,
original female protagonists, and I think they just made her even better.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you all think they're going to change anything, or do you think they're going to go away from what we've experienced with this reboot?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think they will, and I don't think that they really need to, Umbra, to be honest. I think that they're just going to make it bigger and better. They've pretty much perfected the reboot. I can't really say anything negative about it. I mean, I just love the fleshed out character. I love that she really has just become the Lara Croft that we knew from the original Tomb Raider games in the last couple of games. So I think that they'll push that more now. She'll be, less apprehensive. She'll be more confident. She'll be tomb raiding more. So yeah, really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So am I. And look, I'm just going to go back to some of those takes that we saw. My favorite take from that era when Xbox had that as a timed exclusive was it wasn't fair because there was more players on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I
remember Ryan McCaffrey saying, dissing that back then, and he's a major Xbox guy.
Yeah.
So he was saying this was bad that Microsoft.
Oh, but
did
is he
this.
Umbra? Is he an Xbox guy?
Well, the thing is, a lot of Xbox guys don't believe that he is now. And I remember Ryan from back in the OXM days. So I mean, he's been with Xbox for a long time. And
I think
with the
he's been
demos,
hanging around the IGN offices too long, and we all know that they're just full of bogeys.
I agree with that. And
Well,
so
I
he
mean,
made
I
that
was-
take, and then all of a sudden he was all over, oh, that's terrible. But then we remember what happened when the Final Fantasy situation happened, and he all of a sudden his thoughts changed, and it was he was praising Sony for that. That was a terrible look for him. I even told him that.
I agree. I agree.
I everything about that situation I learned from the most reliable source, my man Jason Schreier. So pretty much everything I learned about all of that came from him.
I've lost him as a source, unfortunately. He blocked me for
It wouldn't take
yeah.
much.
He blocked you. That's unusual on Twitter for you, mate. You don't start any wars.
He blocked
Oh,
you.
you're like the Switzerland of tweeters. I'm so surprised, Biscuit.
He's the one person that hasn't blocked me.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still unblocked too.
I think we're seeing a bit of a trend here because I'm unblocked too. So don't know what that's about, Risk It.
Yeah, I
you
wonder
were
what the
Switzerland,
common denominator is.
Are you
Keep my
guys?
head low. I just like his tweets and keep it moving. That's the only way to survive the block.
I think we may have lost internet or something here. I don't know what's going on, but I've got the stream says it's in excellent condition, but it is loading. You guys, are we still coming through on your end, boys?
See
It's still
it,
coming
but
through
it's
on
a
my
little
line.
delayed, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully,
It's a little bit delayed, but it always is. But it's still coming through on mine, mate.
okay.
Yeah.
I've got mine loading. That's all good. No worries. I'll just give it a reboot and hopefully it doesn't burn the entire show.
I mean, you
You
are.
do have a war with
you are,
Nip, did ya? C-Steph brought that up in the chat, saying that you're having a war with Nip, Brisket versus. What's all that about, mate?
Oh no, that was just a 4-day conversation.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Just regular Twitter for you, huh?
That was a 4-day conversation. It was a very interesting conversation. If it wasn't,
I've got
if
witness to it.
it wasn't a competition, but if it was, I won it. Anyway, so moving on.
Of course you did.
So moving on now that we're, I think I've got everything back up and running over on this side. What are we talking about? We're talking about
Crystal Dynamics and
Crystal
Tomb Raider,
Dynamics. Yeah, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Oh, no, actually, Mesh, were you pretty excited to see Crystal Dynamics taking over Tomb Raider again? Really didn't get your take on it.
Okay, so unpopular opinion. I like Tomb Raider on the PS1, but after that,
PlayStation, you're banned.
I mean-
Get out of here. I told you it was a bad idea.
You warned us.
yeah. But after that, it kind of for me kind of went sideways for me, and then I didn't really
why didn't you like the reboot, Mesh? Because I thought it was
I thought that was fantastic.
fantastically done. Yeah.
I did too.
Oh,
I enjoyed the
so-
story much.
So me personally, I like my favorite games, the old Resident Evils, Gears, the Halos. But as far as I like the boom, 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 go, 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 go style games, or survival horror.
Was it too
And
cerebral,
two-
you think, with the puzzles?
I was gonna
and
say,
stuff?
was
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
so the
yeah.
reduction in breast size was that what did it for you, mate?
I mean, I might have had an objection or two to that. I'll confess it.
Yeah, Tomb Raider just hasn't. It's been for, but my gaming tastes have changed a lot as well. So,
Dub in the chat said, didn't a guy formerly, I think what he's saying is leave from Ben Studios who did Days Gone and go to Crystal Dynamics? Yes, exactly. He did. Yep, absolutely. And they made a great game. I haven't finished. That's in my backlog, Days Gone. And I've got it on PS5. And I'm about to lose the catalog in June when they release everything, because you got a catalog of games when you bought the PS5 that came with your PS Plus subscription. And you apparently we're losing that when they release this new subscription service. So
what?
Really, the PlayStation collection is going.
really?
I've actually seen.
I did not know that.
I've seen conflicting arguments on that. I've seen that you're not losing them and that you are losing them.
right.
I don't actually know, where the truth lies.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I was unaware that was even being talked about. I just assumed that as an exclusive, it would be like the one or two, peanuts that Sony threw you away. I'm quite surprised to hear that.
Yeah, well,
Mr. Joanna Dark is still in the chat. He could probably let us know. He's quite knowledgeable with all things PlayStation, although he says that he is an Xbot. I don't quite believe him.
You heard it here. He's calling you a liar, Mr. Joanna Dark. You heard it.
Right, we'll move on to the next topic, which is Halo Battle Royale possibility here. Now, this is the reason why I think it's a Battle Royale, and some people are talking about it. They data mined one of the modes, which is Last Spartan Standing. And if you read through the what they got when they data mined it, and some of the things is eliminate enemy life pool to win. And there's a couple of other things in there that you I'll hunt them down 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's last Spartan standing.
Last players standing killed.
And also
kills as last player standing. So and
you get more weapons the more people you kill, the higher your score gets. So it's different to a battle royale and more like Warzone in Halo 5, I would have thought. But
yeah, well, look, it's similar to a battle royale, but here's the kicker: is the reason why I think it is going to be extremely similar to a battle royale is because it's going to be in BTB, which is the other thing that they've discovered with the data mining. That wasn't. They released that information, didn't they? They did.
Yes.
They did release that information. Yep. It's not data mined. Yep. That's right.
So that to me is pretty exciting. That might breathe a little bit of life. And I know I've been on this show extremely hard on Halo. Was extremely hard on Halo last week, and I also released a video that was extremely hard on Halo. But I fucking love Halo, and the bones of this. I keep saying it. The bones of this Halo are the best. They're the best bones of a Halo game that we've seen for a very long time. And it would just be a shame if this game died because of lack of content. So if they can bring it back with modes that keep people coming back, and then obviously with their battle pass and stuff, if they just keep working on the content, they might be able to save this game. Did you see? You obviously saw what was going on with this, Jack. Are you keen for this? And obviously, I'm going to mention as well. They released a 26-second trailer, which you don't see a lot in, but they did have a drop ship, which you mentioned before the show, which is also very battle royale-y.
Yeah, no, and we were talking about it a bit in the green room. And I believe we all have this in common. We all get very intrinsically, giddy and happy anytime that something is new is coming to Halo. We're all big Halo fans. So am I excited for it? I'm absolutely excited for it. I'm very intrigued as to what Halo's take on sort of that battle royale formula will be. Insofar as it's always been an arena shooter, that's typically, it's never really moved beyond that. I'm very excited to see where it's going to go, how it's going to work out. They're talking about new maps. If you watch,
Jack, typically it is an arena shooter, but they have tried other stuff. In Halo 4, they tried Firefight, and in Halo 5, they tried Warzone. And they're not arena shooters, so they have moved away from it, and it looks like they're bringing both those models back into Infinite, and I think me and Umbra were talking about it before. Yeah,
I'm very optimistic about it. I think anytime, particularly because there's no two ways around this, and I think not just all of us, not just Risky, but all of us, individually, have been very harsh on Halo in all its forms, whether it was the game, whether it was the, the cinematic television adaptation, the show. It's just this Halo is so synonymous with Xbox. You see Master Chief, what's the first thing you think of is Xbox?
Mm-hmm.
So this being sort of that flagship IP that built Xbox, it's such a shame and it's such a travesty to kind of see what's happening to it. That the slow degenerative atrophy of Halo, and I think we're all very excited now because it appears they're gonna breathe some fresh life into it. Now, to what degree that life is gonna be fresh or not, remains to be seen. I think it doesn't even have to be that fresh. If they just gave us something akin to Firefighter 2, the older Warzone, we'd be happy with that, with the battle pass and all that. Couple new maps. Like Riskit says, it's got fantastic bones. The infrastructure's there. The foundation is there. It just requires attention and a little bit of work, and it could be something truly great. And I think anytime we see anything like that coming to Halo, there's all kinds of reasons to be happy. I mean, I know day one when that drops, I'm gonna be on with you boys playing it for 4 hours. So I know how it's gonna. Yeah, no doubt, brother. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to dive into it. There's a lot to see in that trailer. Even given its relative brevity, it's like 26, 28 seconds, somewhere thereabouts. But you can see what are differently customized Spartans, which you can only assume are various players, getting off of a dropship. At one point, I zoomed in. There's a Sanghaili skull, like an elite skull for shoulder armor.
Oh, that was
I know.
badass,
I'm
by the way.
super excited for that, brother.
Yeah.
So I think it seems like they're tackling maps, modes, cosmetics. On the whole, I'm pretty optimistic about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we
with you
were
on
promised a Halo Reach customization system, and we haven't really got that, have we?
No, we have not.
Yes, and so look, the look of Lone Wolves, just the look of the actual armor cores themselves look amazing, and it really looks like that level of customization that everyone was hoping for is finally coming in. Now, I think they might have mentioned something about mixing and matching armor sets or armor cores. They really need to bring that in. I want to be able to customize my Spartan to look completely different to anybody else's, and I really hope that they bring that in. The maps they showed, I think Catalyst looks great. Yes, I understand that they are using existing assets from the campaign. I don't care. I don't care if they're reusing.
I'm okay with it too.
Yeah, if 100%. They are getting out, new maps to me are quicker and they're still fun to play. I couldn't care less if they're reusing assets. Really,
I mean, I'd like to see Blood Gulch in the game. I'd be okay with that.
I'll
Yes.
110% agree with that. They could bring in some of the old maps and just give them a refresh. Frankly, they could do that. But what you were saying, Pete, about the armor cores, yes, they are doing that. They are talking about mixing and matching. They said it's pretty hard for them to do it with some things. It's very difficult, apparently. However, I personally, and I'll go to Umbra after this, just get your opinion on season 2 and how it looks. But I personally don't give a shit about how my Spartan looks, to be honest, right now. They've got some good stuff. If it's going to take a lot of development time for them to mess around and try and mix and match between, I want that. But what I want is maps and modes. Give me maps, give me more content. Umbra, what did you think of this new season 2?
Oh, I'm hyped as hell. I agree with you overall. Absolutely, that matters more. But man, I am big on customization.
Umbra wants the drip.
I want the drip. I gotta have it. Yeah. If I can't be fancy while I kill you,
you gotta.
What's the use?
Yeah, you gotta accessorize murder. Come on.
Exactly. I gotta have my boots matching my helmet, and I have to stomp on you with dignity.
Elden Ring. Always got to make yourself look good while you absolutely kill.
Yeah, you got to be stylish. What the wheels say on Men in Black? I make this look good. I got to look good while I kill you.
Umbra, I only have a teabag in Gucci, so I feel
No, I'm excited.
That's why the weekly challenges have been really, really disappointing. Giving away backdrops and weapon charms.
It has.
And just, you don't really want to go through it. I mean, yes, you do it for the first month or so, and then there was a really big drop off, especially when we finished the battle pass. But it looks to me like they might have got things right, and the amount of customization that it looks like they've got in season 2 is really refreshing. I want everyone to be able to look completely different, and I think that they're heading in the right direction. And I have to say it, this is what we were promised. We were promised a Halo Reach style of customization, and if anyone's played multiplayer on Reach, Spartan looks completely different. It's really, really cool.
It is cool.
The other map that I wanted to talk about was...
Just quickly before you do, and I'll come back to you. See, Steph said what they can do when Forge drops is use community-made maps as multiplayer maps, like they've done before. Absolutely, if I was in that studio, I would be making Forge a priority, and so the community can hold up the content. Pete, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say on the Catalyst map, it looks like they have got the sword right in the center of the map in a massive kill zone. So at the moment, sword or the gravity hammer on. Oh god, I can't even.
Oh,
remember
Pete,
the
you're
names
talking
of
about the
maps.
map with the waterfalls on the side, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
but it
that
looks
looks
like
dope.
it's in a kill zone, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to get that sword.
Yeah, 'cause
Whereas
it's up
in the
top.
current map, it's really on the side and off to the side, and you really need to go over to get it, and therefore it's a lot easier to get it. But having that risk reward of getting that sword right in the center of the map makes it a lot more interesting, and a lot harder to get. And the
Yeah.
other map, the Breaker map, the big team battle map, has a revolving laser that constantly moves through the center of the map. And if you get caught in that laser, it's an instant kill. Like, everybody will die. And I think that these interactive maps are really going to freshen up the
I like that.
gameplay. Yeah, I really like it as well. They did say that
It's
it
a
was
new
a lot.
dynamic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a smaller map. It's a lot more contained, and I'm not sure how that's gonna go from a vehicle perspective, because big team battle maps are generally,
Pretty
more
big.
vehicle orientated.
I think they need to be tighter anyway, man. I think that those maps are actually ever so slightly too big. There's always dead areas.
Just to finish off, incredibly excited about Season 2. But, yeah, look, I really want to get your take, Risket. I mean, we've been playing Halo a lot. What do you think about it, mate?
I'm excited, but it's not enough. So there's a lot in there, but a lot of that's just fixes. They did release a second, what we learned from Season 1. A lot of it, again, is just fixes. And look, there's a content creator, and I forget his name, and he was saying, like you were saying earlier on before, like they're reusing assets. I don't care if you reuse assets in interesting ways to create a map. And again, like C-Steph was saying, give us Forge. Like, focus on Forge. Fuck co-op for now. You can work on the campaign later. If you keep the multiplayer alive, if you keep that multiplayer alive, people will come back and you can work on the campaign later on. I think Forge should come before co-op, and that'll keep us ticking over. I mean, at the moment, I made a video, guys. If you haven't seen it, like, duck in and have a look at my video. It is a bit of a rant video, and I was very harsh about what's going on with Halo, and that happened. That video came about because I was trying to get a game, and I could not get a game in Australia, which is ridiculous. Like, there's 25.
If nothing else, check out the video just for the beard, boys.
It's 25.
Oh, it's great.
It's 25 million people in Australia, and you can't get a game on Halo that's on a Game Pass that is free to play. That's an issue. That's when you know your game's going to start to die, and they always die here before they die in America. And
They are going to have region picking, so you'll be able to pick your region when you're selecting a game. I think that will improve it substantially.
Hopefully.
Well, not
Yeah.
for the four of us.
But look, we got to go to Mesh. And Mesh, are you a Halo player? Are you excited at all for Season 2? Are you a little bit underwhelmed, overwhelmed, happy about the bone face helmet that might be coming?
I'm a Halo campaign player, okay, primarily. And once the campaign and co-op, and I get a few rounds of co-op, then, I wait for, any DLCs and stuff like that, if they're going to be. And, that's what I do. As far as multiplayer, if I played multiplayer, I would have to get a new TV probably like all the time because my controller would be stuck in it. I hate when people
sound like
teabag
me,
me,
brother.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say,
hate when
sound
people
like me,
teabag
bro.
me.
Yes.
Like getting teabagged.
I don't know if you've heard me
Oh,
at
I'm
age,
gonna-
mate.
I'm
That
gonna find
teabag
you.
is like,
I'm a
it is.
teabagger. I'll find you. I enjoy the teabag. I'll never let
Yeah.
that die.
Yeah, look, here's
Gonna
the
play with
thing.
Boba Fett.
Here's the thing with teabagging.
Teabag as well.
There's a time and a place. Like, if you've nailed someone, and there's a time and a place to teabag. But these kids these days that run around teabagging because you got to kill. Someone stripped my shield, you came in with one bullet, killed me, and then you teabagging me. Nah, that's gonna make me angry.
I don't know. I mean, I wish they were on the OG days. And if I kill you and there's no one shooting at me and I have an opportunity to do the team, I'm pulling the trigger. Risky.
I'll do it too. I won't lie. I
Oh,
still
I'm
do it
gonna-
someday.
I've never done it.
Teabags,
Never
Chris.
will do it.
You've
And-
never
done it?
No,
You don't know
I've
the
never done
joy.
it.
You
Bro,
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
went
was-
back.
Sorry,
I went back.
Dragging your cybernetic balls all over his
you-
body.
I remember
Intrinsic
playing the
sense-
flight and getting
You don't know
teabagged
the
by a
power
bot.
of the
That was-
teabag Jedi.
Yeah, that
I
was
went back to
special when
Halo.
was-
I went back to
Yes.
Halo 5. I went back to Halo 5 after, playing Infinite or whatnot. and I was like, how much did I miss the grappling hook? It was just, it was awful.
Oh
It was
yeah, the
awful.
movement, the traversal, yeah.
No question.
So,
so good.
Mesh, would something like Firefight get you into Halo? Like, it's because you're a typical campaign player, and I used to be, mate. I never used to really play PvP, but since I got my 120 frames, I feel like I've got a bit of a competitive advantage, and winning is always fun. But would something like Firefight get you into it, where, you know, it's not campaign, but it is more PvE orientated?
Maybe. So I play Gears online like all the time, but that's
Horde
Gears,
mode, stuff like that?
Well, I
mode
do
or actual
Horde,
PvP?
but actual PvP. Yeah, I play that. I play that all the time. But with Halo, it's just different. So another thing is like I don't play the Call of Duties. I don't play the Battlefields, and the reason why is because I was in the military for 12 years. You know, combat and stuff like that, and I absolutely hate the fakeness. And then like some things are just like just get on my nerves, right? And so like that's kind of my thing with Halo Online sometimes. Like it just pisses because I'm like it's I know it's a game, but it's like it's not realistic, man. Like, you know what I mean? So it just kind of
I'm a current 12 Bravo. I totally feel you.
nice.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, he works in explosives like me.
Well, no, the worst is like you see a guy with like a sergeant's, you know, like sergeant chevron, and they're saluting him, and I'm like, that's not a fucking officer chick, you know, like it just it irritates me.
Hey, but just to touch on before we move on from this, because I didn't fully expand, but from the customization I've seen, I've also seen the I believe the War Master helmet and armor. That looks dope. They did a good job in translating the Halo 5 and 4 armors into Infinite. So I'm glad with that. I'm happy that they're, you know, continuously giving us new updates on the armors they created that didn't look quite Halo-ish in Halo 4 and 5. So that's going to be solid too. And there is some development they're speaking of, or at least a rumor that they're going to, like Pete was mentioning, I believe, about the armor cores and allowing us to really experiment on that and mix and match. So I hope they do that because that should have been the way it was all along.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm just happy that they're bringing some content. I'm not happy with the amount of content, but you know, that is as it is. And hopefully season 2 only lasts. That's the other thing that I'm worried about. And then we'll move on to the next topic. How long is season 2 going to last? They haven't given us any details on that. It's supposed to be 3 months. It's supposed to be 3 months.
Yeah, but they haven't said that, Riskit, and that is incredibly worrying, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it could go for 6-8 months. We don't know. And if you listen to some of the bigger content creators on Halo, they're extremely concerned at the time it took to develop the game, the time it took to develop what they're giving us 6 months to give us 2 maps and a few different a new armor core apparently, which is cool, and to give us you know some what clothes, some boots, a helmet. Yeah, a little bit worried, to be honest. And I'm also worried about Forge, because if it takes 6 months to create a map and they have a system like Forge and we know they're using it in the background, wouldn't they be using Forge? So can't they use Forge to develop more maps than 2? I mean, you could probably, some people are doing, you know, can develop a map in a week, some of the community. So,
you know what it is, Risk? I think it's because I think fans, the feedback before was that they wanted more actual handcrafted maps and less Forge maps that we got, I believe, in past games. So we, like, for instance, they went astray with Reach. It was a lot of that happening where they did a lot of the Forge created maps instead of actually handcrafted.
yeah.
So I think they wanted fans. I think fans wanted to go away from that. From what I remember, it's been a while. But I remember fans complaining about that.
They're still saying it now, but like I think what those fans need to kind of suck up and understand is that at the moment in this early stages, we just need content and maps. So I think now is the time, and the next 2 seasons is probably the time for them to use Forge, put out those maps, maybe grab some of the old maps, and then you know, they can still pull them. It's still in engine. They can still pull them across into their slip space engine, do them up, give them a little bit of lick of paint, slap them out. Like I don't think anyone would have an issue with that.
Sorry to cut you off. I was
You're
going to
right.
say they could easily. I'm pretty sure they're doing it, but if they're not, I don't know why they wouldn't get these content creators, like you just said, who are making these maps, who are adept at use. I seen a guy make a recreation of Halo in Unreal Engine. It's like, what are you all doing? Get these guys immediately on the payroll to start making maps, community maps and such like that could be rolled out in each battle pass. You know, a couple more maps. I would say if they'd have gave us at least 5 or 6 maps in this battle pass, I don't think many complaints would have been had. That and a few more modes.
I agree with that.
Yep, 110%.
And
And then
that's a little ambitious,
it goes back
but I
to
agree.
yeah. Sorry, it goes back to we talk about it every time, management. But we won't get into that too much. We'll move on because we've hammered Bonnie Ross and we've hammered her so hard she's starting to hit back in the media. So I don't think that's just down to us. But we'll move on to something pretty exciting. Now, listen, there's a lot of people out there have a bit of a view, and I know Zorka is one of those, and a few other guys out in the community. Give me new IPs. I am not like that. I love my old IPs. If you're going to remake them the right way, and I am absolutely happy. I love seeing Dead Space coming. I love Tomb Raider coming. And we've got a new one coming, which is pretty exciting. Max Payne 1 and 2 is being remade by the original makers of Max Payne, which is Remedy. But obviously the IP is owned by Rockstar, and they've got a deal going with Rockstar. And hopefully the remake is nothing like the remake of the GTA games. Because that would be very, very bad. They've got a deal going with Rockstar, and I'm pretty excited for this, man, because Max Payne was one of those games that was just, game-changing. It was like an industry standard. Like, it set the tone. It made Remedy what Remedy is today, and it also helped to make Rockstar what they are today as well. So I'm super excited to see this. Mesh, I'll go to you first. Are you, obviously, I can kind of tell that you're, I don't know exactly how old you are, but you may have been around when the original Max Paynes were released. You excited about this?
What you trying to say, bro? Yeah, I am. I'm very excited. I mean, Bullet Time at the time I was so amazed because, it hadn't been done before, So, I have been waiting for Max Payne for a long time. Long time, the Bullet Hells.
Someone asked, literally it was 2 weeks ago, someone asked about what IPs on Twitter you would like to see, and this was my answer. And I'm like, 2 weeks later, we're getting it. I'm super excited for this. It's going to be great.
Yeah, Max Payne. I want to see them remake Iron Brigade. I mean, I know a lot of people haven't heard of that game, but I love that game. And it was Xbox 360. I think Double Fine made it.
Yeah, right. I will look that up. I have not heard of that before at all.
Yeah, Double Fine, I think, suggested that they'll be making a new IP. They're not going to be remaking any of their old ones, but I know what you're talking about. That was a really good game.
See, I'm on the opposite end of that bandwagon. I think Pete kind of is too. Feel free to correct me. I do want the new IPs.
Me too, definitely. I want new
do.
experiences, mate. Yep, definitely, 100%.
So the thing with the problem is now a lot of these games.
Yeah, you're all
I'm
blocked.
not saying
You're all blocked. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, no, I'm not 167 years old. My apologies there, Risky. But but no, I think so. Here's the thing. I have very interesting, and I'd be curious to get everyone's opinion on this. When it comes to sort of these remakes and these remasters, if it is a third-party studio, right, not under the first-party umbrella, I'm a lot more lenient. Okay, at least it's something. But I am fundamentally of the opinion that if you are a first-party studio, Frank, to be blunt about it, I expect new shit. I can take remastered shit, but you have to be working. There is an expectation on my part that there is, said new shit also in the pipes. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know Pete and I have a very similar opinion. I'm almost done with the whole remake remaster. This is not last generation or 2 or 3 or 4 generations ago. It is the current generation. I expect there to sort of be an intellectual evolution with that. But I don't know.
With
Is that
that,
just
Jack,
me?
So you want
The problem
evolved
with
shit.
that, Jack, is it's incredibly expensive to make games now, especially AAA
Oh, I
games,
know.
and it's the trend has become very worrying where new IPs just aren't selling as well as existing IPs that are remade. And so companies are going the easy route. They're taking existing IPs and rebooting them. Now, in certain cases, I'm all for it. Like, they're making
Space.
what's that game called?
Max Payne's a
Dead
great
Space.
example.
Yeah,
Dead Space, yeah.
Yeah. Max Payne 3 was made by Rockstar, and I love that game.
I did too.
I went back and played it again when they FPS boosted it. God, I didn't realize how hard that game was. That game kicked my ass. But I'd love to see 1 and 2 because I think the story, especially Max Payne 1, would be great. So I mean, that game's old enough now. But yeah, I do want new experiences. I really do.
I do too.
But look,
It's a
these
new
are
generation, man.
I know you're only 5 years old or whatever, but like if you can
I'm
remember,
this many.
if you can remember, like you probably can't remember it, but like I remember picking up Max Payne for the first time, and the story of Max Payne was awesome, and they had some really great like sections of that game
noir detective violence.
Yeah,
yes.
but they also had some sections of that game that were like kind of didn't fit the noir, but did, like where he had a dream and he kind of went off into a crazy like walk thing. You could hear a baby crying. You had to like go toward the babies. Man, it was when I was playing that game, I was enthralled. So if they could bring back some of the magic of those games that that we have already played but have a lot of love for, I'm all for that. Umbra, are you I don't really know if you're big on remakes or remasters. What's your opinion?
I would be more so big on remakes than remasters.
Yeah, there is a difference. Yeah,
absolutely. Give me a remake of something that's well done. I mean,
so like a KOTOR.
A KOTOR, you could point to even I'd say Demon Souls that they did on PS5. That's quality remake right there, right? So something like that looks really updated in visuals. Maybe even mechanics. Absolutely, I would like them to do Uncharted 1.
Resident Evil 2 is a good example.
Resident Evil, absolutely. See, that's a quality remake right there, no question. So something like that, I'm more for. Remasters, I suppose. But then again, I guess it's a part of being spoiled on Xbox because we get kind of de facto remasters in some way without them having to do a remaster anyway.
I thought we got the best one with Mass Effect.
See, exactly. You see what I mean? So for that reason, I don't mind it. But even with Mass Effect, I thought that should have been a remake. Yeah. Because to me, visually, it did not improve that much to me. And I was like, when I saw it, I was like, It actually killed my hype for it when I saw it because I love the series.
It sold incredibly well, and therefore they're probably going to do more of them.
That's what I would want them to do. I would want them to really go the remake route. But I actually am really excited for Max Payne. I mean, like Jack pointed out, it's a staple. And like many of you all actually already said, it's just a staple of gaming, and it actually set the table for so many different action games and such going forward.
And the bullet time.
The bullet time. See that we're in sync. So the bullet time mechanic absolutely set the standard in a lot of different ways too. So absolutely. And then that crime noir kind of feel it put to gaming. I would love to see how they would go and take this. I actually wish that they would do a remake or at least a remaster for Part 3 as well.
Yeah.
So I hope
what was that? So, I'm sorry. What was that game that you're a detective, you're a ghost, and you got to solve your own crime?
Oh, I got that. I have to play that.
Yes.
I have that.
I enjoyed that actually.
What's the name of it again?
Soul Suspect.
So that's it.
Yes.
Yep, Soul Suspect. I have that. I haven't played it yet. I got it on my backlog list.
Great premise.
Obviously, you're just a great guy from Massachusetts. It's a good game.
No bias there, huh?
No, not at all.
It's a great premise for a game, that actually. Look, we'll move on to topics-wise because I'm pretty excited about. Adam's excited about most of the remakes coming out. As long as they're done well, Dead Space looks like it's going to be. Max Payne looks like it's going to be, and I'm crossing my fingers for Splinter Cell. If they ruin Splinter Cell, that'll be it. I'll never buy a Ubisoft game again. Never again.
It's automatically ruined without Michael Ironside for me.
They can't afford to mess that up.
Yeah.
Ubisoft
What I
has messed
do
up a
like
lot.
about the,
they have,
remake
yeah.
and remastered
They have.
is, especially with like Max Payne and stuff, that there are a lot more darker narratives in older games that we've sort of moved away from because they scare millennials. And so that's what I do like about it. That's what I miss about gaming. I miss very adult-driven games like
Jack's fault.
L.A. Noir
It's
and
your
Max
fault, Jack.
Payne.
It
You
is,
millennials have
it is.
ruined
You know what?
gaming.
I'll go through my high
Ruined
school
game.
yearbook and I'll kick everybody in the balls for you, Pete. I swear.
Could you ever see them making an L.A. Noir game again? I can't.
But this you can and they will. I think there will be another LA Noir, whether it's New York Noir or Chicago Noir. I think Chicago would be cooler. There's
absolutely.
I think there's no place in America more noir than Chicago. I think it does it best. Personally.
Will it be as dark as that narrative that we got in LA Noir? Because that was dark. That was brutal.
I think so. I think there would, just because Chicago is synonymous with American crime and gangs. I mean, it's Capone's home base. You know, you could do it. I think there's no better place for a game like that than sort of a Prohibition era type Chicago. I think that's the best setting you could ever get for that.
Look,
I just see games more going the Saints Row route.
I don't want to cut in, but I'm going to cut in. I'm going to move us on here because we're hitting a certain time mark. We've got quite a few more topics to cover, so sorry, guys. I will say, Eric, in the chat there, good luck with that. I hope you don't get caught.
I've been there before, brother. Don't worry about it.
Activision games have been spotted on Game Pass by a gamer. And there's something else that will fold into this. The games coming on Game Pass this week aren't as bad as last month's. This month aren't as bad as last month. So I wouldn't say they're great. And indie devs have apparently made $2.5 billion in total as a whole, no one individually, from ID at Xbox, which is absolutely amazing. So look, we know that that Activision games will be coming to Game Pass, but they've been spotted. We didn't think it would happen until obviously someone spotted them so early. Until someone spotted them on the actual store. Games like Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Diablo 2 Resurrected, are under Xbox Game Pass deals. And as you know, games that are in Game Pass are the only ones that come under Game Pass deals. So it's very interesting that someone in the back end there has probably made a bit of a mistake and put them in a little bit too early. So I guess, it's exciting. Well. It's exciting to know that they're coming. We know they're coming. You can't assume anything, but we're, they're coming. So you guys catch this thing on the news, Jack?
Yeah, I did. I actually did. We talked about it. I think you and I talked about it briefly for about 10 minutes the other day. I think it's great. I think it's great for a number of reasons. Obviously, if you're a Call of Duty fan, and that tends to sort of wax and wane every year, depending on the iteration that they come out with. Obviously, we're not as much of a Call of Duty fan this year as we were, when the most recent Modern Warfare came out, things of that nature. But it is good. I think it's good for a number of reasons. Obviously, it's simply more games, right? From a utilitarian perspective, that's fantastic. We're all gamers. We want that. But a part of me wonders if that's almost not sort of indicative of the progress being made between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. Perhaps there's, that it gives me a sense of optimism. Not that I really didn't have any,
The deal's closer. It's closer than we think it is. And it
does. I mean, don't get me wrong. Apparently, everybody with a PSN account is attempting to get a hold of Joe Biden. So, that's a little So it's interesting when you see that. But yeah, I do. I sort of economically and sort of financially, and in terms of the agreement and this ongoing merger, yeah, it's definitely optimistic because we all know that, sort of the golden goose of gaming would be for Game Pass to get like that Call of Duty collection,
Yes.
That's like...
Well, that was the other thing that happened in the news. Like one of you guys posted early is that 40. I think it was you, Jack, posted that article that they did a survey, and 43% of Nintendo and PlayStation gamers would come over to Xbox if the Call of Duty library was available on Game Pass.
Yeah, and if you look now, I mean, if you look now, obviously Nintendo subscription service, PlayStation subscription service, I think it was almost half. It was like it was either 46 or 48.
Yeah, I don't know if these guys are any good at math, but like 43% is almost 50%, which is half.
Yeah, which is
Right?
half. I mean, so Call of Duty alone, just in terms of being a franchise, it's easy to forget because we play games. We've played like the most recent Call of Duty, and I think it wasn't sort of the abortion that it was often made out to be.
No, that is the thing. I will say this again. Like, a lot of people talk trash about Vanguard, but it was actually pretty good.
It wasn't that. I wouldn't call it pretty good. That's strong.
No, the campaign was like, I really enjoyed that campaign.
Oh, I did enjoy the campaign a lot too. Yes, yeah. But it wasn't awful. It wasn't a dumpster fire. And I think, people, it's often underscored how important. There's a reason that these Call of Duty games are very often, and I'm talking very, very often, the best-selling game of the year when they release. There's a reason that Warzone alone does $5 million a day in multi-transactional fees. I mean, that's huge. That's $1.5 billion a year. That's enormous. So, the idea of all of this coming to Xbox and sort of bringing with it that Call of Duty fan base, that player base, and generating all that hype, I think it could be a very lucrative opportunity if that study is any indication.
I think they're actually almost making what Hargeet makes in a year. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, that's almost Hargeet's like clearing like what, 1.7 billion?
Hargeet, bless us with some game giveaways, Hargeet.
Yeah, man. How do I make my way to your tax bracket?
The man with the billion.
Right. Nice. Just to say what C. Steph said down here. He said he's a Call of Duty fanatic. And he is. I know it personally. And he says,
does love Call of Duty. I see him playing all the time on my list.
I was going to block him when he said COD was better than Gears, but
I saw that.
Let it slide.
I was like, oh, my brother. Yeah. But he says, and he makes a good point. He said Call of Duty fans aren't loyal to a system; they're loyal to the game, and a majority will follow where it most benefits one system. And he's right. That is exactly what happened with Call of Duty World War.
And we saw that with the 360 generation, and when Xbox was getting the prioritization of maps and stuff, and we saw it with the PS4 generation when they moved over and got the exclusivity there, and 43 or 46% would consider getting Xbox Game Pass if
that's huge.
That is a huge number, and it's got to be incredibly worrying for PlayStation.
Yeah, god damn it, Don Matrix ruined Xbox One. Really that guy, honestly. But this also feeds into another, and look, it's the VGC charts, but it feeds into another topic that we have. It's all kind of very much linked, I think, is the sales charts, the VGC. Now, they've been wrong many times. They've been way out many times. But they are all we have to go off. And it's aside from individual country sales. But at the moment, from what it looks like, the Xbox Series X is selling 150,000, nearly 151,000 to the PS5's 78,000
in the States.
That's in the States, but in Europe, which Xbox doesn't usually win, or I don't think it's ever won Xbox One. They sold 220,000. While PS5 sold 211,000. Now, I think these games, these services, it's not the games at the moment because there's nothing for both systems, let's be honest. But I think the services are starting to win out, and people are starting to see value.
I agree.
Game Pass.
Within Game Pass.
And Risk, just to point to you being correct there, because a lot of the PlayStation fanboys will try to say, well, they just got that because there's a shortage and more people decided to go with an Xbox instead of buying because they couldn't get a PlayStation. But the thing is that nobody's going to buy anything like if I go to the store and I'm looking to buy this specific item, I'm not going to settle for something that's not what I wanted. So why would somebody go and invest in a whole ecosystem of the Xbox instead of the PlayStation? Yeah. So right. So they're picking consciously saying I want an Xbox. They're not doing it because there's no PlayStation to get. They're doing it because they want an Xbox.
Exactly.
I mean, Game Pass made me from a PlayStation gamer to an Xbox gamer. All the console warring and I think that I will adamantly say that I will 100% cap for Game Pass. There's no way around it. I think Game Pass it's just the most mutually beneficial service, in my opinion, ever offered to the gaming community. We're seeing now, like what you were saying, Risket, when you highlighted that $2.5 billion that indie devs are making off of ID Xbox. We're looking at just recently, and I know we talked about a little bit, gentlemen, that developers of Guardians of the Galaxy over at Square Enix are saying the game's finally where they want it to be, and they're attributing it to Game Pass.
And when has Square Enix actually said the last time they were happy with the amount of people selling it?
Exactly.
They don't do
Exactly.
it. That
Never.
shows you the power of Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely
we're getting
right.
all these
Jedi.
games in the most consumed. I mean, we're at the point now where Game Pass is so great, they're offering a family plan. They're going to make it even cheaper to enjoy the exact same level of service. I mean, it's what Game Pass has done, and I, not to just use the same trite verbiage, but it really is the Netflix of gaming. I mean, it's just so accessible. You get such an expansive library that covers so many different genres of gaming, from first-person shooters to RP to puzzle games, if you're so inclined, And you get it at such a low price point, and it's so well integrated. You can go to Ultimate, which, I know we all have. If you want to play it on PC, you can play it on your phone. I mean, there's no... When you look at Game Pass and you look at Xbox, they're no longer separate to me, right? They're synonymous.
Agreed.
And we're seeing
Game Pass
developers put their games in again, like MLB The Show, 2 years running now. They wouldn't have done that if it wasn't beneficial for them.
A PlayStation.
Well, look, I think, to be honest as well, Game Pass days is probably numbered, considering the offering that PlayStation dropped with PS Plus. It's a Game Pass killer for sure.
100%. Yeah, I'm gonna get all the Bug Snacks DLCs for $179.99. It's gonna kill Game Pass.
It's Knack, mate. Knack.
It's a Nick. Yep.
Production All Stars.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, that was my game of the year a couple years ago.
Well, that was their attempt. That was their attempt at a games as a service, right? That was that's their first attempt, a failed attempt.
Like this Super Smash Brothers type, yeah.
But the biggest mistake, mate, that they made with that games as a service was dropping it for $70. That's like rule one. If you're starting a games as a service and this is your first one, drop it free, get the people in, and build on it. Like, it's unbelievable to me. They did make it free eventually. Mesh, sorry I cut you off, mate. What were you going to say?
Oh, it's all right. No, I was saying, Game Pass is a great deal. Even if you look at the medium, I don't know if you guys, heard the story when that came out. They made their $8 million budget back in 1 week.
Yep, that's true.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, when I saw that, I was like, yep, it's going to stick around for a long time. And then, you could get a Series S, at a low price point. Because in some of these non-industrialized nations, these poorer countries or whatnot, they're buying one box for the entire house.
Yes.
And then Game Pass, and then especially with a family plan and things of that nature, like it's
you can't
going to
beat
be
it.
monstrous.
Even all access Mesh, like where you don't even have to pay the upfront cost of the console.
And it doesn't
pay
cost you anymore.
25 or $25 or $35 a year, and it's actually cheeper. It works out cheaper in the long run.
Yes.
Amazing value.
Yeah,
It is cheap.
I
mean,
couldn't
all you
believe
gotta
it.
do is
I couldn't believe it. What kind of like not subscription, but pay later plan have you ever seen where you get a better deal for going into a pay later plan than you do for like buying the product outright? You never see that. I don't think it's ever been done in the history of. I think if anyone said that in a boardroom, people would be looking at them like they're crazy.
Yeah, they'll laugh them off. But all you got to do now is listen to Andre Brower. He breaks it down. Yeah. Andre Brower tells you.
Well, look, there's something else as well that feeds into, I think, that the fact that Xbox is exceeding these sales expectations. Look, I will say they are failing in the Japanese market. I did have a little giggle when I saw the amount
They sold 391, didn't they? That's
396.
fantastic.
396.
396.
Don't sell them short. Don't sell them
They've
short.
shot them short.
To like 40,000 or something.
Yeah. It wasn't good. That wasn't good. But look, it's always been a Western console. Let's be honest. And I think the Japanese.
I was going to say that with Europe as well. I think the UK is pushing that because France and Germany are typically PlayStation strongholds.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're starting to see the value as well as the availability. Now, a lot of Xbots will say that the availability has got nothing to do with it. I myself have said,
It does.
and I believe this, this is absolutely true. You don't buy a console that you don't want. So I'm not saying that because of availability, people are just going out and buying whatever. You don't spend this amount of money on whatever's, unless you're a geek.
Casuals will, but mate, casuals will, like parents or grandparents just going into the store.
We'll go and get exactly.
Yeah, what's there, and they won't wait for it. But us hardcores, yeah, I agree with that. But I do think that availability does have something to do with it.
Definitely.
And in saying that, do you think that Microsoft did actually pay for?
Yes, that's where I was headed.
To make
Priority,
more?
no, they did.
Right, for
They
chip
did.
priority.
Well,
They
listen,
did.
I wanted to say
And it's not
something
like
on this.
it's some negative.
I wanted to say something on this briefly, and then I'll let you
Good
guys
business.
all jump all over
Exactly.
it. But if you have sit down, and I think we talked about this on the show, even if not, it was in the green room or it was during Topic Talk. But I think that what's going on here is that Microsoft have more buying power. Not even if they haven't paid for priority on chips, you'd have priority if you're buying more chips. You've got to remember that Microsoft are also a hardware company. And
Yes.
they have made some deals with the guys that make these chips. There was an article a couple of months ago about how they'd settled a deal and have a partnership going forward. So that's probably where this Microsoft paid for priority chips came from. But they're making hardware all over the place that Sony isn't making that requires these chips. You got your Surface, you got your laptops, you got tablets that they're making. All these things require chips, plus the Xboxes, which are selling like hotcakes. And then if they've paid for priority on chips, that's a smart move. That is a smart move, and that's my take on it, guys. Umbra, I did cut you off. I apologize, mate. We'll go back to you.
No, you're good, brother. I was just saying exactly what Jack was saying. Pretty much, even if that's the case, because it's just a rumor, we don't know this for certain, but how are we going to act like this is a bad thing? The only ones that spin it is negative are the PlayStation fanboys. I mean, if Sony did this, they'd be right there like, yeah, as they should, So I don't take them serious when they do all of that. It is a business move, like Jack said. It absolutely needs to happen, or it should have happened, and if it did, it would make sense for Microsoft to do. They're prioritizing their business and getting consoles out to our hands. What else should they do? Not do that?
Right, yeah, you don't show off.
Do you
Oh,
think
go ahead,
the Microsoft Foxconn deal that they recently settled, the royalty suit that they recently settled, had anything to do with the amount of chips that they're getting? Because Foxconn is an assembler of consumer electronics. I think that might have something to do with. I think they might have made, that settled that dispute. Yes.
Foxconn's
Chip?
always. Because a lot of it on that front's almost geopolitical. A lot of people don't know Foxconn it built a giant plant to create these microchips in the United States. I believe it's in Wisconsin or Michigan. It's somewhere in the upper Midwest. I can't remember which. I want to say it's Wisconsin, which Umbra might know because he's not too far from there. But there's domestic chip production now. Microsoft logistically is just another beast. I mean, you're what, 2.3, somewhere between what, 2.3 and 2.4 trillion. I mean, you're much more in control. It's a domestic company. I think they absolutely did a lot of that. You'll see will come around from. There was a lot of not necessarily sanctions, but a lot of and you in Australia, actually, kudos to you guys, because you guys actually were the first to do it before we did. There was a lot of constraint put on Chinese tech, and China is where a lot of these microchips come from because they're so rich in rare earth minerals that are required to sort of fabricate them. So you're getting a lot of that now out of the States. There's a deal with Foxconn, which I believe is a Taiwanese company, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
I think they're out of I think they're out of Taiwan. There's a lot of things happening now between Microsoft and Foxconn and on Capitol Hill. So it does not, it doesn't surprise me at all that this would almost just be sort of this. You could almost chalk this up towards like a reflection of like this sort of geopolitical zeitgeist just of the day. So I think it's absolutely.
So you're not. It's with foundries or whatnot. They have to request. The stuff has to be done like way in advance, like to make like the Series X console, Series S and X consoles or whatnot. They had to give them the data a year. They had to book their manufacturing time a year in advance, right? Correct. Because they do it in cycles or whatnot. So people act like Microsoft just was like, oh, last week was like, oh, here's a lump of money, build our chips. This has been planned, and it was just in that cycle that they were coming up with, and Microsoft has their, so they had the foresight to say, hey, we want to build this many chips, just in case, and this and that and the third. And like you were saying, they do have more buying power. Apple does it all the time. That's why Apple gets the lion's share of their chips manufactured. And
I think Sony have their own solution where they're moving over to 6 or 7 nanometer processing for the PlayStation. We will see that eventually
bear fruit,
make more, bear fruit, and more PlayStation will get out there in the wild. They've just gone a different route. But yeah, look, I think availability of consoles does have something to do with the amount of Xboxes sold. Do I think that Microsoft has paid extra money to get more consoles made? No, I don't think so, because that would be very bad business practices from whoever's making these chips by pushing someone up the order that when you already have existing orders from other companies. It's just not a good look.
Well, it depends on how much the money is.
They bid for it.
Yeah, they bid for them based on quantity, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so if you're gonna buy 1,000 chips at $4, for example, and someone's gonna buy 2,000 chips at $5, they're
those 2,000 chips. Yeah.
I think the PlayStation's also had a bit of an issue with failures with their chips. Look, this is something else that go to Mesh.
That's not confirmed. That's not confirmed.
I can go to Mesh about because there's a bit of discourse in the community about whether they have overclocked those chips or they haven't overclocked their CPU. Have they overclocked it? Is that what's going on? Because I've heard people say they haven't. And
so an overclock is basically because these chips that have a clock, they're set. That clock is set at the foundry. And it's based on how good the chip is, because not all chips. So basically, like for instance, a 5900 processor versus a 59XT, if they had the same amount of cores or whatnot, whatever had the better silicon would be able to clock higher. You know what I'm saying? It's silicon lottery, and so that's kind of the same thing. If you look at the PlayStation desktop chips, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they've released the PlayStation chips with graphics disabled on the desktop. And those chips are the chips that have failed. The GPU has failed. Mm-hmm. So they have just to see, and they're just now releasing the Xbox ones.
Right.
So that tells me that they had a lot more failed PlayStation chips than they had failed Xbox chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that it's not necessarily like Sony gave the spec for it, and basically if it doesn't meet that spec, it's kicked from the line.
Yeah.
So if it can't clock up to 2.2 3 gigahertz on the GPU, or some cache is not working, or some part of the pipe isn't working, they're going to kick it. And so being that they're running at such a higher clock speed, there's less room for error. And so Xbox has a lower clock speed, they have more CU, so they can have more error on the actual die side of the, as far as the CU, but the clock should not be a problem because RDNA 2 is made to run at 2 gigahertz.
Yeah. So
it's just kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, but I do believe that the liquid metal issue is an actual issue because, gravity, it's liquid metal and gravity is a thing. You stand your console up, it's liquid metal. It's going to find a way to get down where it's not supposed to be. And I think that's probably what's going on with some of these consoles. And, expansion and contraction. When things heat up, they expand, they cool down, they contract, right? So, that's what, I think that's what's happening with some of these. And early on, you saw the temps were pretty high on the memory for the PlayStation 5. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that are going on. If there is an issue, it would make sense for them to not produce as much until they rectify that issue.
Right.
But, I hope it's not an issue. And the reason why is because if that becomes an issue, then liquid metal is going to get a bad rap. People are probably going to stop utilizing liquid metal. But it may be a good thing. Something else, ceramic may come from it. But yeah, I think Sony shot a little too high, I feel, with as far as the clocks are going on, and not enough. For me, I would prefer a wider, higher clocked.
Do you think
GPU.
that they did that as a response to when they found out the specs of the Xbox Series X, and they found out that it was, more advanced than what they had? Do you think that was like how Xbox One put VRAM into their I can't remember what it was now. It was so long ago. ERAM into their Xbox One to try and offset some of the benefits that the PlayStation 4 had?
Oh, the Xbox One, if you don't know if you remember, but they raised the clocks at the last minute. They pushed a firmware update and raised the CPU clocks.
Yes, and they also put VRAM or something like that into it as well, because they had slower memory or something along those lines.
The ESRAM. Yeah, the
Yes.
ESRAM. That was supposed to be a cost saving thing, and that's what Sony's doing. So when you have a smaller die, you're taking less silicon from a wafer. So say, for instance, they make a wafer that's 600 millimeters, right? And each one of your chips is it's actually going to be a lot more than that, but let's just say 600 millimeters, and each one of your chips is 20 millimeters, which is very small. Then obviously you can only get so many 20 millimeter chips versus 10 millimeter chips out of that. And so the Sony chip is much smaller, so it's cheaper on the silicon side. So by them going with less CU and raising the clocks, they're having the gamble that all those chips are going to be good, and they're not all going to be good, and they know that. But they disable it's actually a 40 CU chip instead of a 36 CU. Right. They disable 4 for yield purposes. And so I don't think that they did that in response to. I think that they just did that to save money. It could have happened like that, but the PlayStation 5 was so far ahead of the Series X in development. I've heard it was a year ahead. I've heard it's been 6 months. It was 6 months ahead. And so I think that makes sense with the Xbox's spec not being finalized until, June of 2020. Yeah, June, July 2020. So, and I was hearing, dev kits were out for PS5, early 2019. Yeah. So it's just, it's like, but yeah, I don't think.
When they sent out the dev kits for the Xbox, we all know that they weren't ready.
No, they were basic. They were in Xbox One X boxes, and they were pretty much what they were. And they tell devs to target that spec. But there are many iterations of the dev kit. There are things I wish Microsoft would have done differently. But then again, but there's so many misconceptions for what, like, people believe, and I know this is kind of off topic, but people believe that cache scrubbers are exclusive to the PS5. Cache scrubbers have been in GPUs for years now. Like it's a standard thing, and so the difference is that, Sony has their coherency engines to kind of manage them, but a dev can manage them just as well, so a lot of the stuff they have is similar, but then they have different ways of going about it. So, like, to really answer your question, as far as did they raise the clocks because of the Xbox, I don't believe so. I believe that some of the other stuff was an afterthought, as far as disabling, or cutting down the FPU or compressing the FPU on the CPU. I think that was kind of like an afterthought moment so they can get better stability. I think the memory clocks match up to the GPU output. So yeah, that's why I don't believe that the GPU was an afterthought. But I do believe other things were kind of an afterthought to kind of bring up, like the coherency engines and things of that nature.
Awesome, man. Look, we'll.
So that's really interesting, Mesh. Yeah, because I actually heard that they did overclock it, but you're saying that they basically didn't do that because I'm
not saying they didn't do it, but I'm saying it really wouldn't. It's the development process of a console. If they had to, because if they raised the clocks, not only would they would have to remake the power supply, they would have to remake the case.
Yeah.
for heat purposes, the heat sink, the voltage regulators on board would have to change. The die size.
They did make that heat sink very strong, and then they reworked it a little bit later with a little less copper to save a little bit of money. But it looks like they didn't actually know how much heat dissipation they needed with the liquid metal and that massive heat sink that they had in it.
Yeah, it's all. I don't know why they went with the traditional heat sink instead of like a vapor chamber, but
The
you know,
Xbox
yeah, the Xbox vapor chamber is more expensive, but I think that for the long term, because these consoles have to last for years and years, and they're going to be moved, they're going to be laid on their side, sitting up. It's I don't know. It kind of gives me pre-Xbox 360 vibes.
It can't. You can't hide that console. That console's
I've
massive.
seen Kid Smooth in the chat. Welcome, brother. Yeah, got to get you on the show soon, mate. Love to have you on the show. That'd be awesome.
Oh, we got Kid Smooth here. Woo! Royalty.
Oh, what a distinguished guest. We are so very rarely graced by a man of your caliber. Welcome.
You are welcome to be in our presence.
Yeah, man. We'd love to have you on
Smooth?
anytime. Yeah, look, that's pretty. It's a lot of information for me to assimilate. My small brain struggles to deal with that much information, but that is pretty awesome. That you can basically see that Xbox had a plan from the beginning. They stuck to their plan. They knew where they were going to go with the generation. They obviously knew about RDNA 2, and they had to wait for that. Is kind of what I'm getting out of this. And PlayStation would just jump the gun, basically.
I think Xbox got a little bit lucky. I think PlayStation was meant to launch a year earlier. They wanted that lead like the Xbox 360
had back then.
Yeah. And I think that, they didn't get caught with their pants down, but a lot of things happened in the world, like COVID and stuff like that, to delay it. So nothing really has seemed to have gone right for the PlayStation this generation. But
except Bugs.
Well, that's not just because of the development of the console or the that's also got to do with a lot of their anti-consumer decisions, and basically they've been running, I think, up until now, and I think this is going to start to change soon because the mainstream media has caught on to the sentiment. They've been running on goodwill. From
a lot of legacy loyalty to the play. That almost won me over. I for the most part was probably almost a PS5 gamer up until I managed to extract my head from my asshole, which was nice, thank God. But a lot of the guys that I know that I've been playing with for a long time, I was surprised. A lot of them actually. I don't want to say they defected like I did from PlayStation towards Xbox as a primary platform, but they did buy Series S's. Now they have their PlayStation 5, but they're on their Series S's. And if I turn on my Xbox, which I do all the time, I see them, on my friends list, and they're on. I think Xbox got a very. I know, Riskit, you refused to accept this. Xbox last generation was very underwhelming vis-a-vis the competition.
Oh no! I've never not accepted that Xbox One can only be described as a failure. In the beginning, definitely a failure. Mainly due to Don Matrix, man. That was leadership again. I mean, when we talk about Halo and 343, and you talk about companies like this, everything does come from the top. And look, Don Matrix was fucked up. He fucked up hard, like real hard.
Right.
They thought that gamers were going in an all entertainment box direction, man. Which we are. But primarily,
he was 10 years too early. No, I understand.
Yeah, and he was counting on that as that's going to be the leader. But what he forgot is that we're gamers, and that we want games, and games is what we're about. And then obviously with the Xbox One, when Phil came in 2014, and you started to see a righting of the ship, mate. And so you can't deny that the Xbox One was an absolute failure. But you can place that blame squarely at the feet of Don Matrix, and I hope he's listening.
Don Matrix was one of the original people in the room that didn't actually want the guy to even show the Xbox in the boardroom. He was basically trying to block him from getting into that boardroom and show it. He didn't want Microsoft to go in that direction. How the hell does a guy that had no belief in gaming and Microsoft wanting to do that actually end up being the head of Xbox.
Yeah.
The sooner they got rid of him, the better.
Yeah, I think that's indicative of Microsoft as well. Like in its past, it had no belief in Xbox, and I think was surprised with the original
side
Xbox.
project.
And then I mean, and just some of the decisions that came out of Microsoft. I think Satya Nadella's is a great leader for Microsoft and has definitely made some good decisions because Phil couldn't do it without Satya backing him up, and they have made some fantastic decisions. And look at gaming now. Like back then, they wouldn't have been able to foresee. I don't think anyone could foresee that it would be the biggest entertainment platform in the world. Like it is the biggest. It's bigger than music and movies combined. That's fucking ridiculously huge. The amount of revenue that it pulls in is
All
crazy.
hail Phil Spencer, mate.
Yeah.
All hail Phil Spencer.
But I think what I'm saying though, Risky, and while I agree.
Oh wait, hang on 2 seconds before you go. I will say one more thing. I think what we're seeing with PlayStation is we're seeing Jim Ryan, the Dom Matrix of PlayStation, and what they need to do.
Just a suit.
Yeah,
Pyro just said that in the chat. Actually, if you look down in the chat,
yes,
Pyro just mentioned that. He said Jim Ryan's the Dawn match insofar as he doesn't seem to be able to get with an evolving business model, suited towards a more modern landscape for the industry. I think that's 100% accurate. I think Pyro, you're 100% on. Riskit, you're 100% on. I think though in the end that does not change the outcome of last gen, right? Because we're talking about these PlayStation legacy gamers. Yeah. It's different now. PlayStation last generation was the place to play. There's no way around that. And I was one of those individuals that thought it would always be.
You are fucking blocked. You are out of here.
I know.
I don't understand why they got.
I didn't like PlayStation last gen.
Sean Layden.
I got to update my resume. I just got fired.
Sean Layden led them to this place of absolute dominance in the marketplace, and they got rid of him for a suit.
Why?
I don't understand that decision.
Why? It's unbelievable. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that decision. It'd be like Xbox going, you know what, Phil, you've had your time. See you later. I don't understand how PlayStation gamers they didn't even kick up at that decision. I mean, did they? I didn't see anything too much.
No.
I don't remember. There's a lot of nostalgia.
Almighty
now.
Sony. They're not going to say anything against them.
There's a lot of nostalgia now for Sean Layden. For some reason, there's also a lot of animosity towards Herman Hulse too. Which I mean,
because I think Herman Hulse took Jim Ryan's position, or he took his side and helped push Sean Layden out.
And it could be. I just there's a fundamental switch. This Game Pass. I look at Game Pass and Xbox this generation. Right, it's very simple. For me, Game Pass and the advent and the arrival of Game Pass is the Stalingrad, the Gettysburg. It's sort of where Xbox's ass was so magnanimous.
The funny thing is, Jack, is Sean Layden came out with the subscription service
and
first.
It was shut down.
It was his baby. It was his baby. They could have gone so much further with it. They could have destroyed Xbox before Game Pass was even a thing.
But wait, didn't Sean Layden also say that subscriptions are not
He did.
viable?
Yeah, you're right. He did. He said the Game Pass model is not viable on PlayStation.
Right.
He did say that.
I don't know why
I can't really take him serious
for
with that.
PlayStation. Yeah, after what they did for him, he's an incredibly loyal human being. But that was a very strange comment to hear.
Yeah.
Well, look. Sorry. So we're going to move on topics-wise to our next topic on the list, which is I think we've covered them all.
Oh, nice.
But we do have our last.
Put this on your radar, mate.
Oh no, we don't. We haven't covered the Halo TV third episode. Now, I'd love to go back to Halo again. We're going to go back one more time. If you're still in the chat, please hit the like button. Share this out. Tell a friend. Halo TV. Look, I'm starting to come around a little bit. It's not Halo. It's not Master Chief. It's something different. But it is Halo. It was. I think I'm going to stick with this and see how we go. I'm not completely sold yet. What did you guys think?
It's promising.
Mm-hmm.
It's promising. I agree.
It appears to be a path forward to fix it, there appears to be a narrative path forward to delivering us something we are more familiar with as franchise gamers. And I think that it is that keeps me watching.
Second episode, I felt like that. Third episode, I really had to struggle through that episode. I don't want to give anything away narratively, just in case someone hasn't seen it. But that one hurt to watch. His Chief isn't even in his armor half the time. I don't know. It's not Halo. I said it last week, and I'm going to stick to it. It should have been about another Spartan. It should have been like Nightfall, where Chief plays. You know, he isn't the main character. Role. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And they could have focused on another Spartan. I think the implementation of Cortana was done very poorly. I think you're changing the origin story of how they met as well. I hate that. I hate that because we played it in the game. It's one of the first things you do in the Halo universe. The Chief meets Cortana. I don't like it, mate. It really hurt watching the third episode. And yes, I will watch it because it's Halo. The third episode just made me depressed.
Like, you're already at the point where you're about to pop some Zoloft? It's that bad?
Yeah, look, it's not as bad as going in and watching The Last Jedi, because I was actually in a state of shock.
Wait a minute.
After watching that.
Jedi, you're telling me that the Chief Cheeks didn't cheer you up?
Yeah, man, Chief, bro.
Well, you have to have equal opportunity, because he had, a female butler the episode before, so you got to have that equal opportunity.
Yeah,
but, I mean, what did you guys think of her being like the Grave Mind and controlling the flood?
Master Cheeks, I love
it. Who is this chick? Who is this chick? How is she able to control the flood? Why isn't the Grave Mind
it gets
doing
revealed.
it?
Hang on. We gotta go back to this. I think we can. He's not Master Chief. We'll call him.
I call him Master Cheeks.
We'll call him Master Cheeks from now on.
Right, but that's how you get.
But no, I'll say for me, I thought it was pretty solid. Episode 3 was solid. I didn't care for. I don't know why they keep showing all this. I don't know. Maybe it's just the man in me, and like, I'm so heterosexually straight. It's like I don't want to see his cheeks.
I'm the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same as well, mate.
I don't know.
But after spending 15 years teabagging people apart, he's like, I do wonder what it is.
It makes me think of Naru. It's like that's America's ass. It made me think of that.
How many times have I put those ass cheeks on a 14-year-old face? I gotta see what I'm working with.
I'm gonna have to edit that out. I'm gonna have to edit that bit out.
I bet you played Dead or Alive Extreme back in the day, huh?
She kicks high.
Beach volleyball, one of the best games
EMX Triple
made.
X.
Yeah. That titty bounce physics, mate. That was the shit.
We all are a fan of buoyancy, so I'm with you.
Oh yes. But no, seriously, I thought the episode was pretty solid overall. Honestly, I think they're going some places with it. I think narratively it's starting to kind of shape up. I think the issue still lies in, I wouldn't say, because the actors are solid. There's no issues with the actors, in my opinion. I think the actors they have, I think Pablo is pretty solid choice as Chief. I'm not having any issues there. I think it might be a bit of the dialogue they write, and I'll be honest, I did not like how they made Cortana looked. I'm just going to be real. That was a concern. I voiced that concern before it started. If you all remember, I said I don't like that they have her skin fleshed. Yeah, and they stuck with it. I'm like, So I want them to go away from that. Maybe if they can further it. I mean, that's the good thing, is that she's digital, so they can easily say change it anytime they wanted to.
The other thing,
why does she have clothes on?
The other thing, 110%. Why are the clothes?
Should be Halo 4 Cortana. I think Cortana is the Cortana.
The best
version.
The other issue I had with Cortana is the two of them, him not wanting her around, him kind of arguing with her, the humor that was coming in. Like Cortana does have a little bit of humor, and that's cool, but Master Chief has always just accepted Cortana. He wasn't like trying to buck the system. This is all kind of him slowly bucking the system, which isn't Master Chief, it's Master Cheeks. And
that's what I mean, mate. They're just going in, they're changing
it's leading
the law.
Up to CE. It's leading up to Combat Evolved. We only know Master Chief, right, from Combat Evolved forward. we, and I'm with you,
Yeah.
Pete. I'm 100% with you. I am totally a law whore. I do not like deviations in my law. I know Umbra is more or less the same way. I know Risk-It, we're all the same way, right?
Yep.
I think, though, that there is a degree of creative liberty, a degree, mind you, you can take, given that this is all leading up to Combat Evolved. We do not know anything about the Chief. I mean, in the books, sure, there's some, but we don't really have any sort of cinematic experience with his persona or his mannerisms or the relationship he had with Cortana or didn't have with Cortana up until CE. So I think until we get to where he does fall on that ring, there is a reasonable degree of leniency, not huge, but there is a reasonable degree that I think we should allot the writers and the show up until that point. Beyond that point, it's non-negotiable. I agree.
I can't see them destroying Reach either. Just can't see that happening. I think that's another thing that they're going to change because it's too important to the story now because it's where Halsey is based. I don't know.
You know what? I disagree on that.
Really
Actually. I think they might go that way. I think they might actually do that because they've already established and shown it, and they know how important that is to the fan base.
I think I'm with Umbra. Yeah,
I think they will destroy it. Actually, what I will say this, and somebody gave the thought even in the space I was in the other day, and I think it was just mentioned a minute ago where people were saying maybe they shouldn't have focused on Chief, and it should have. This was the thought I heard. It was from Moni. She said maybe if they would have had it where it started off with the humans first coming across the Covenant, and then eventually having to develop the Spartan program. And then the first season ending off with Chief being, put into the Spartan program and such, and coming out as Chief. I thought that was kind of a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though how much fans would have liked it to not
I
see
would have
Chief.
hated it.
Yeah,
That's
so
the thing.
that's-
There's a long time.
The Spartan
Yeah, that is
program
a
was
long
designed for the insurrectionists long before
True.
the Covenant.
that is
You
true.
couldn't really, you know what I mean? Again, and that's, I think, and I know Pete's going to echo the same sentiment. I think that, again, would be one of those lore missteps that would just be too much.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that is-
For me.
That is true. You're right. And so to alter it, it could be the case where they have it start off with the human interaction and then, like you said, the insurrection, and then they create the Spartan program and then have it drop where the Covenant is introduced. Just to say, I think, like I said, the problem to me seems to be a bit of the writing. And I said this before in the past where I think Hollywood goes wrong is they think they know better than the source material. So
Exactly.
sometimes they'll say, oh, let's do this instead. And let's add this social element that the world is currently facing or thinking about into this world where it does not belong. The same thing they did with Star Wars. It's like, no, don't do the social justice / girl power. Don't do it because it's just going to
Grey
clash.
Jedi crap. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Look, I think Last Jedi was one of the best Star Wars movies ever made.
Changing Luke into a goddamn hermit.
I haven't gone to Mesh yet. Just Mesh. Have you been watching the Halo TV series?
Yeah,
He
the
said
latest
before in
ep-
the green room that he hasn't.
Yeah, I've watched the first 2 episodes. The last episode I have not watched because I'm waiting for my wife. We're watching it together, and she's been busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What did you think?
And she's like,
As a whole, from the first 2, I know the first one was a bit jarring to most fans.
it's different. It's weird. I kind of like the way that it's going, but I don't like the fact that he has to babysit this girl, and then the upper management or whatnot, the chain of command is just, oh no, you shouldn't be messing with that Cortana program. Like, why? Why? Give a reason. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing is just like when they don't explain certain things, it's just, then I have to constantly explain to my wife that, okay, this is not like the game is, and this is that. And, she thought he was a robot. And I was like, no, he's not a robot.
Well, look, they did actually explain that. They do explain that it's the cloning laws that they have issue with. But that's the other thing. Like in the game, Cortana wasn't a clone, from what I remember.
Yeah,
she was.
Yeah, she's exactly.
No,
That's what I mean. Like
it's cloning. That refers to cloning a person's. So they talk about it. It's actually based off an American law. On this is actually legally codified in America. They don't say cloning; they say flash cloning, which is not just body but consciousness. And because Cortana is effectively Halsey, right? That's why it would have been illegal. So flash cloning refers to sort of is to clone an individual's consciousness or their persona entirely. So it's a little bit of legalese, it's a little bit of nuance, but they do explain it fairly well, and they'll go into more detail on it in the third episode.
They
so
do.
when your wife,
they do.
Yeah,
it can be missed. It can be missed in that second episode, absolutely. And that we won't go into too much about the third episode because obviously you haven't seen it. But it gave me a little bit of hope. Pete, I agree with you. It's not Halo. I've just been looking at it as it's not like Halo, and then I feel better about it. Like, you know what I mean?
That helps a
One thing
lot.
I did like was Cortana. Jen Taylor is phenomenal. I think
She's
she
a
gets to
treasure.
shine for a larger audience here. Her voice is just so sweet and
Spectacular.
soothing. Yeah, I don't like some of the interaction she had with Chief, and I don't like the pushback and that dichotomy that they have with each other at the moment. But I'm hoping that grows. I like, how Halsey was pushing them, pushing Cortana to more be friend rather than foe.
Yeah, that was a little odd, right?
Yeah, and
It
her.
doesn't look like Master Chief either. That's my thing.
Don't ruin it as well. We don't want to get too much into that because that's pretty key to the third.
Yeah,
so we won't get into that.
too much.
But I didn't like that either, and that felt I think they'll turn that around. You know what I mean? So she started here and now she ends up here, like type thing.
Yeah, I think so too, mate.
But just in the interest of not spoiling the show for Mesh, I think we'll move on. There is actually one more topic that I did miss. It's only a very small one. It's one that I'm actually excited for. I have not played Warhammer, the previous 40k. I didn't play it. I've looked at it. Vermintide, I believe it's called. I did look at it. It kind of looked a bit janky, and I'm not a big first-person melee type dude. I prefer that stuff to be third-person. But this new one that's being released and has a release date, which is in the 13th of September. It's more. It seems to be more focused on weapons, like guns, shooting mechanics. And I've looked. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty keen for this. And it's day one Game Pass, isn't it?
Yes, it
Day
is.
one Game Pass.
Day
Yeah.
one.
I think I had a bit of a problem. I tried Vermintide out when they put it onto Game Pass, and you're right, it is very clunky, especially some of the melee. But I think this game is made to be played with friends, and anyone that's enjoyed this game has played it cooperatively, and I think that's where the fun in this game comes. And look, it's on Game Pass, so definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, Jack, I'll definitely go to you. And Jack, I'll also say one other thing before we go to you, because I know you're a fan of the Warhammer universe. I am also super stoked and super psyched to see that Space Marines too. And that looks...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did you play it before I go into that? Did you play the first one?
No, I haven't.
Absolutely, 100%. Jump on that. It's probably like $8.
Can't find it. Can't find it. Did look for it.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Well,
yeah.
No, I'm a huge Warhammer fan. I like the books. I got like little orc miniatures sitting on my desk right now. I enjoyed Vermintide. Vermintide is sort of the fantasy variant of Warhammer, whereas this is still Warhammer, but it's 40k year 40th millennium is where that comes from. It's being developed by Fat Shark, obviously a Vermintide, pedigree. The game was reviewed well. I enjoyed it. I think I might have subjectively enjoyed it because I liked a lot of the Warhammer lore and how true to the franchise that game was, because a lot of it comes from canonized novels and whatnot. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a co-op shooter. It's one I've been looking forward to for a long time. Not as much as that second Space Marine one, mind you, but it's just going to be great fun. Co-op hack and slash. You're going to be killing diseased space Satanists in a planet-spanning city. That's roughly.
Imagine trying to describe that to somebody.
Yeah, anyone that knows Warhammer, you cannot describe Warhammer in less than 2 hours.
But I'll say this: if you all have not played Warhammer Vermintide when it was on Game Pass, you missed out.
It was great.
It's really, really damn fun.
And Vermintide too, yeah.
Absolutely, and Vermintide too, because especially Vermintide too, and they had a little expansion I think you can get for it.
It did. There are 2 of them, yeah.
Absolutely, I played it with my buddies a few times. It was absolutely fun. So, Risk, I would say, brother, if you have not tried that, and because you have an aversion to first-person melee, I would say get over it, because that game is one of the better ones that does.
It is good.
It's good, man. It's the reason why I didn't jump on Elder Scrolls and all that sort of stuff to start off with, because I didn't have the option to go third person.
I see what you're saying.
Any melee, I want to be behind the character, not in the character. Shooting, I want to be either behind the character or in the character. Oh, that just sounds terrible. Look, I'm just gonna.
It was so difficult. You know how hard that was for me, Riz.
The Warhammer
It's
games
worth
have
it,
been a great supporter of the games with gold service as well. A lot of them have been given away free of charge. So if you haven't got them, go back and check that you haven't got them in games with gold, because I know that's how I played a lot of them.
Inquisitor Martyrs in games for gold, and that was fantastic.
Yep, I played.
Love
Yep,
Inquisitor
exactly.
Martyrs.
Yep. I played that after I played Diablo 3 because I really got into that style of gameplay. Yep.
So, Mesh, I'll go to you, mate. Are you a Warhammer 40k or Warhammer fan? You there, Mesh? Mesh.
Oh yeah, I'm here. No, I apologize. Yeah, I was just looking at some dumb nonsense on Twitter. These people, but anyway.
Yeah.
Nonsense in Twitter? Never.
Oh no, that's full of rational, right-thinking people. What are you talking about?
No, this like, you know, this I'm sorry, but yeah, Warhammer, no.
No, you think
I'm not a Warhammer fan, man. I'm not. Yeah.
Well,
no, feel free to talk about me, but yeah, no, I'm not a Warhammer fan.
We're gonna
Everybody, let's talk about Mesh and his shaders.
and then
No, man. Like this dude just did this insane jump on Forza Horizon 5 over the stadium, and then you know, the MIPS, you know, popped out, so it was a little pop in there, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, PlayStation 5 is better." And I'm like, it would have been worse.
Yeah,
it would have been worse. Like it's nonsense.
Yeah, I know. You see it on there all the time, and it's just so many times you have to restrain yourself from responding, and often I don't. So we'll move on to the final topic, which is our segment. Put this on your radar. I need to get a like a little thing like Fonstars or whatever. But to put this on your radar this week is Slitterhead, one that Pete picked out there. It's made by the maker of Silent Hill, Silent Hill's creator. It's Bokeh Game Studios. It was revealed at the Game Awards 2021. And look, I mean, if you've played Silent Hill and you know Silent Hill and you're a bit of an old fart like we are, you know that that's like the standard at the time for survival horror. And there's nothing really concrete about the game itself. They just showed a little trailer, which is playing on the screen now. So yeah, Pete, I'll go to you because I know this is one that you picked out and you were kind of pretty keen for.
Yeah, look, the reason why I picked it out is because of all the abandoned nonsense that was going on, and how you have to pay $15 for a demo for a game that might be made. So if you're looking for a game that's like Silent Hill, why not go to the guy that actually was the game director for Silent Hill? And that's where I found this game, Slitterhead. It looks incredibly freaky. I love the character design. I love the art direction. And I think it's perfect for put this on your radar because although it was announced at the Game Awards 2021, we haven't seen much of it since. So, yeah, keep an eye out for it. I think that it could be something special.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty keen for any survival horrors. You know, you guys know I love. You guys know I love Dead Space. I love that Resident Evil remake. 3 was great. Like. This survival horror stuff is definitely my bag, so yeah, I'm pretty stoked to see it. Umbra, do you know much about Slitterhead? So no one does, but are you stoked to see this one coming?
I don't know too much about it, but I do remember them showing it way back. I just kind of forgot about it, but I get the Parasite vibes from it. So that's pretty interesting. If you all are not aware of it, Parasite is this anime where this these aliens, I guess, take a hold of the human DNA and it can warp the body. Just like we just saw that lady's mouth had this disgusting thing come in and out of it like it just did.
I thought it was pretty hot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so hot, it should probably make an OnlyFans.
Yeah, you mean like, Marlo, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
No,
That thing had some good footwork. That's all.
Apparently, PlayStation. Now, PlayStation used to have the most visited site as Pornhub. But now apparently it's OnlyFans. It's the most visited site for PlayStation's web browser. Jack, you excited to see Marley's OnlyFans? I mean, Slitterhead?
Yeah. Well, I know you put them side by side.
They're similar. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, so I understand. Yeah, it's they look identical side by side, so I fully understand you. Yeah, I am excited for it. It did give me kind of that well, I don't want to say parasite because they'd be alive. I've never seen it, but like a necromorph type vibe with the knife, and then she opens up, and it looks like a really interesting sort of Eastern themed type of horror. Which you'd expect from obviously the minds behind Silent Hill, whatever the mind was in question. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just like you, Riskit. I love survival horror. The best one I probably played, actually my favorite might be Alien Isolation, maybe. So I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, it's I like a good shit your pants simulator.
Oh man,
so.
Dead Space is honestly got to be my
you're probably I'll take Dead Space. You're right, you win.
It is definitely my all time. It even holds up today. I played it like I think 2 years ago. Man, that game holds up unbelievably. And
the art direction in Alien Isolation is amazing. I mean, it just puts you into that aliens world that was created.
Retro future.
Amazing. Yeah, amazingly well done.
HR Geiger. Moving on to Mesh. What do you think, Slitterhead? Think much of it? Seen much about it? Keen for it? Survival horror?
Yeah. It looks interesting. I want to see more. I want to see how. The only trailer I saw is the people deforming like spiders and her head opening up and with the little parasite popping out of her mouth and stuff. But how are you going to fight them? Are they going to be just like environmental weapons? Are you going to have, guns? Or what are you going to do? That's what I want to know.
Subscription instantly.
What'd you say?
You can cancel your subscription instantly. And then it just goes away.
Yeah, and then she just goes away and you'll see her.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're talking about Slitterhead or are we taling about Marley's? I'm confused.
Oh, God,
They're very similar. They're very, very similar.
Hey, look. The Bigfoot. I don't know if I want to really talk about Bigfoot, but
let's leave Bigfoot alone, eh?
You mean Frog Eyes?
Because next thing I know, it's going to be a scandal, and everybody.
I mean, she can step on you. She can step on a barrel of grapes and make you whine in one step. Why would you not like that?
Red wine.
Could you? Do you reckon they're like Hobbit feet, like hairy and or toenails?
The one time we're like, do we want to go out not being
so
that's true.
This is what got me. Like she straight up, called dude out of his name, right? And then he just talked about her feet, and everybody was just on her side. I was like, what kind of nonsense? These people are thirsty.
That was the illustrious Kid Smooth, by the way, who was here.
I know. That's why I was messing with him.
That was trash. I remember that. Like, how you gonna turn against this guy after she said what she said?
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. And then she blocked me. She blocked me because I called her out about it. And I was like,
oh, look, okay. I don't know what I have to do to get. We're getting really off topic here, and I'm going to end the show in a minute. But I don't know what I have to do to get blocked by her because everything I say, she even likes some of this stuff. Yeah, I'm not nice about it, and she just won't block me. I keep hearing about these people getting blocked, and I'm like, I have been commenting on her stuff since she had 200 people, so maybe she's nostalgic. I don't know. Well, look, that
maybe she knows to subscribe to her OnlyFans account. Oh, did I say that out loud? I thought I was muted, mate.
It was for research purposes only. Research purposes only.
Like $90 too.
That's how I know it's very similar to Slitterhead. So I just wanted to get like a look at the game before it came out. Anyway, guys, I did not subscribe to her OnlyFans. That's absolute bullshit. That was a fantastic show. We had a fantastic guest. All you guys in the chat that came by the show and made the show, you make the show what it is. We had some new guys coming through. We had Kids Move coming through. I won't call you all out. It'll take too long. But Skrilla, Cozy, Dub, you keep coming back. Mike, keep coming back. Pyro, Doovie. Looks like I am calling you all out. It's Steph. You guys that keep coming through every week. You just you make the show. Huggeek, the man with the billion, going mad. You guys, honestly, you make this show what it is. Pyro mad, Snoozy, Mr. Too Opinionated. So thank you if you're still here, hit that like button and share that. She loves me, Michael says. I don't know why, mate. I don't know why. It must be the beard. So we'll do some outros. Mesh, thanks for coming through, man, and keeping us up to date and informed on all the technical side of things and what you know. That knowledge was it's a wealth. You have a wealth of knowledge. It's really interesting to hear that side of the tech in these boxes. Even though the PlayStation 5's tech really isn't that interesting. Anyway, so yeah, just let the people know where they can find you, what you're up to, your Twitter account, so on and so forth, and what you'll be playing.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on Twitter, and I'll be playing. I'll mostly be playing Gears and Doom for right now. Like I said, I've been in and out of Halo, but the teabagging thing kind of gets me. It's Marley's. I swear, she's playing and she keeps teabagging me.
I'll find you. I'll find you.
Awesome. Yeah, you can
You've
find
been with us, Mesh, mate. We'll got your back, mate.
You can find Tech Talk at Abandon RDNA 3 on Twitter, and just follow him there. He's the wealth of knowledge. Anything you want to know about tech, I've been picking his brain. So anything you want to know about tech, if he doesn't know, he says he doesn't know. If he does know, you get a really good layman's description of what things are and what they do. Moving on to the panel, I'll go Jedi, mate. Thank you every week coming through. You're getting up much earlier now. I think it's 1 p.m. over there now. So you're getting up much earlier in the day. I appreciate it, man. It's fantastic. Tell people where they can find you, what you're up to, and what you'll be playing.
At Twitter, JediKnightPete, on Xbox at JediKnightPete. I will try and beat Melina. Thank you so much for everybody coming through. It's Steph. You're going to get banned if you keep making comments like that, mate. Thank you for everybody who came through again. Yeah, just absolutely love the discourse. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Umbra, man, every week coming through with your sultry tones. That new mic has got you sounding amazing. Thank you for coming through again. Like I said, let people know where they can find you, what you're up to, what you're playing.
Word so easy. It feels good to have this quality sounding mic. It does. No, I'm going to be playing some more of that banger MLB The Show 22 for free and basking in it. Right now, I'm arguing with someone on Twitter right now who's mad at me.
That's still going.
It's still going.
Oh, yes.
Tried it.
They've been going all day. They've been mad at me all day about this. And they try to downplay it. Oh, yeah, it's not free. Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, if you've played 3 games this year, and you have, it's free.
I played much more than 3. Yeah. So that's the funniest part. But, just saying I'm playing some of that. I'm going to play some more Crusader Kings 3 with my buddy. And I'm going to just enjoy the weekend, man. I got to meet up with the band, start singing and playing some music. So you all can find me on Twitter under InfiniteUmbra. And if you are so inclined to join me in some Xbox gaming sometime, Superhavoc on Xbox.
Copy that.
Thank you all for coming through, by the way, and supporting us.
Fantastic, man. And we'll go to you, Jack, man, the newest panel member that we have. Thank you for giving us your time every week, man, joining the panel. I will get you inserted into the intros and do those sorts of things when I actually find some time. Having an 8-month-old is tough. So yeah, just let people know what you're up to, where they can find you, and what you'll be playing.
You can find me on Twitter at the JackAstronaut. It's not very complicated. No, I'm just glad to be on this show. I'm glad, for the opportunity you guys all give me. The guests, you guys are the best. Just joining us here on the panel, and especially you guys who are also in the comment section. I'm seeing a lot of great guys. I'm talking with Michael here a couple of times, and just so much enthusiasm that you guys are generating for us. You really make us want to keep going. I talk to the guys every week. You mean the absolute world to them, and you mean the world to me now too, being a part of this and getting this opportunity. So thanks so much. God bless all of you. Special thanks to everyone also on the panel. Thank you, Umbra, for that sultry voice. I can now get rid of that Barry White CD I used to have to use to get her in the mood. So thank you. God, it's so helpful. No, I keep going. Yeah, I got it recorded right now. Oh, you're the man. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys can find me on Twitter again at the JackAstronaut, and that's it. Really, I'm the only millennial without a Facebook. I think it's because those aliens in the walls with the tinfoil that I keep. It's not working. Anyhow, Yeah, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Would you say Marlies is in the walls? Anyway, fantastic show.
We
Thanks
do like
again.
talking about the box.
Thanks to the guests. Thanks to the chat. You guys are all of you guys are amazing. And thank you to the panel. And we are out. We will see you same time next week. Bring a friend.
Peace.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you for having me on.
God bless. Peace.
Peace.